start from the pit lane for the second time this season. The Aston Martins were the two slowest qualifiers. Alonso and Stroll at the back. Ahead of them, Valtteri Bottas and Ollie Behrman out in Q1.
อันไหนต้องอันนี้ปะ
As I say, will be starting from the pit lane. He had an issue with his Audi. Arvid Lindblad is 15th on the grid. Colin Pinto is 14th, and Nico Hulkenberg has his lowest start of the season in 13th. Carlos Sainz has a 100% point-scoring record here. In 10 starts, he starts 12th alongside his teammate Alex Albon, Williams' best quali of the year. Liam Lawson had a few issues, but he's made it to the grid, and that's great to see. He lines up 10th, and Pierre Gasly 9th, his best Monaco quali since 23. 1,000 Grand Prix for McLaren, their worst qualifying of the season. Norris 8th and Piastri 7th. George Russell down in a lowly 6th, and Isaac Hadjar qualified 5th here for the second year running. The second row is all Ferrari. Charles Leclerc, who was on for pole before he hit the wall at the back. Lewis Hamilton will start third, his highest Monaco start here in 7 years. And it's Max Verstappen and Kimi Antonelli on the front row, a 4th pole of the season for Kimi Antonelli. Will it be Martin Brundle, a 5th Grand Prix victory in a row?
He's got every chance of doing that if he can get into the first corner first, but then we know how it settles in for the rest of the afternoon unless there's a wild safety car. It's not going to rain, but we're also looking out for a bit of team play. If, for example, Williams are in 11th and 12th, will they use one car to hold a pack up and or try to steal a point or two from there? Both Ferraris on the second row of the grid. Charles Leclerc was on for pole position until he hit the barriers yesterday. It certainly would have been very close indeed. Max Verstappen, I'm expecting him to be all over the gearbox of Kimi Antonelli if he doesn't beat him into the first corner. Both drivers on the front row of the grid have had some sketchy starts, but they're getting on top of that. And we'll see what happens. Good to see Liam Lawson on the grid. He told me just when we were in vision earlier on, I'm not going to make it today. Best case scenario, we'll start from the pit lane. He's on the grid, so never believe what these what these drivers tell you.
I think at the time he thought there might be a power unit problem.
Yeah.
It isn't. It was a car systems issue that they managed to fix and get him out. And I think Arvid Lindblad might have had a similar issue as well, because he was radioing to the team to say, "Well done, guys." Yeah,
good for them and good for Lawson because he's done very well to get P10 on the grid.
Tyre blankets off then, and everyone is on the medium tyre to start, unless you're Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez, and from the pit lane, Gabriel Bortoleto, which is not so much of a surprise. The medium tyre is the favourite tyre to start on here. Did you think anyone of the top 10 might have gone for a bit of a gamble at the start?
I think if you make those places up early on, if you use the extra grip of the soft tyre, a couple of places, then hang on to it. But if you don't, you've literally blown your chance. So happy to let. Quite telling, wasn't it, Max? There trying to find some traction, some bite. Took a while to hook it up with the clutch and first gear there, but away they go. And Antonelli doesn't want to arrive too quickly at the start line with the pack still making their way around the swimming pool or such like.
I was just looking at Sandoval, the first turn. There isn't much room around the outside. There's a lot of room on the inside. Not all of it, of course, is the track. Is someone going to be a bit cheeky, do you think? Try and cut the inside? Do the stewards look at that at the start?
Well, it's much better to do that than have an accident or go into the wall on the outside. But you've got to remember where, especially if you're mid-back, you've got to feed back in where you were before you cut to the safety, the get-out-of-jail-free card on the inside. And the stewards will have to look at that because it's too inviting. If it all looks a bit smoky and tyres locked up in front of you, take to that little road, but you've got to feed yourself back in at the right place. But this is a lot of pressure for Kimi Antonelli. He's been faultless so far this weekend, but Max Verstappen alongside him, and both Ferraris in filling his mirrors. Wow, that's a lot of pressure.
1966, Bruce McLaren racing for McLaren, making the team's debut here in Monaco.
โอเค perfect ทุกอย่าง
still going strong
หรือเปล่า
and the defending constructors champions. We saw Kimi Antonelli getting away a lot quicker than Max Verstappen. Anthony Davidson at race control. I wonder if he was just trying to practice a start, not fully committed, but trying to get it right, given how much has gone wrong this year for him.
If you need to get it right anywhere, Crofty, at the start, it's this race here in Monaco. And his starts this year so far traditionally haven't been brilliant, as I pointed out on the Sky Pad, but he was told by his engineer, Bono, the clutches were on target, so the driver was doing the right procedure at least this time.
Yeah, I mean, what's absolutely clear, back in Canada, both Mercedes were much better off the start line. So let's see what they can do. What we do know is that the Ferraris are very quick away, but usually in the second phase of the start as well, there's not an awful lot of that here. It's just 115 metres to the first braking point.
Look, we're lining up on the grid, and the front row and the second row are slotted into position. Gabriel Bortoletto, who's going to be starting from the pit lane, is coming through the tunnel at the moment. He's about 30 seconds behind the two Aston Martins, who are last on the grid. So at the front, they're going to be sat there for quite a long time. We're really interested in the start here because so far this year, the second row has led.
ประมาณนี้จะได้ไม่บังเสียงเรามากโอเควันนี้ผมจะไม่ดูจอฝั่งF1 Timing นะทุกคนวันนี้ผมจะดู B-in ล้วนนะเฮ้ยเดี๋ยวเราทุกคนเอ้าเรียบร้อยเลยพี่แม็กเรียบร้อยเลยเหมือนรถจะมีปัญหาต้องเข้าพิษแล้วดันเป็นกับสนามนี้ด้วยเดี๋ยสนามนี้แม่งยิ่งแซงกันยากๆอยู่มีทายเลยว่ะรถเป็นไรวะคิดว่าจะได้ออกมาปะเอ้าเพิ่งเห็นเหมือนอันนี้จะไม่ขยับปะใช่ไหมมันเป็นที่อันนี้มันไม่ขยับหรืออันอ๋อโอเคไอตัวนี้ไม่ขยับโอเคโอเคที่อันเมื่อกี้ไม่ขยับ
Well, now needs to clear another, and that is not going to be the work of a moment because Antonelli already 3 seconds ahead. His teammate George Russell has been noted for a false start and being out of position. Russell was down in 6th on the grid, and that was a bad qualifying. It might have got even worse from the off.
Oh dear.
จบแล้วทุกคนทันเซอร์ก็ห่างไป3 วิกับสนามนี่
retired from a race on the first lap. Big disappointment for him.
Hopefully we'll get a replay, but Sergio Perez, who's up to 14th in the Cadillac, he made an overtake around the outside of Mirabeau.
Wow, and maybe helped a bit by the two Haas cars tripping over each other a bit. We think that Ollie Behrman might have gone into the back of his teammate Esteban Ocon. 3.7 seconds the gap. Kimi Antonelli to Lewis Hamilton. It's like they've opened the starting stalls, and the young thoroughbred is going to try and lead this at a blast from the off.
So just to take you through overtake Formula 1
Ah.
this season.
ดูจออย่างนี้ก็ได้
You're within a second of the car in front at the detection point right near the
อัน
end of the
นี้
lap.
อันไหนน่าจะ
You get overtake mode for the rest of that lap. It gives you more power and more speed for longer.
นี่แล้วกัน
Basically,
ไว้ตรง
you
นี้
can
โอเค
harvest, but harvesting around here is easy for
ไว้
everybody.
อย่างนี้ก็ได้
But it enables you to hang on to the
ร้อย
speed a little bit longer. I don't think it's making a huge amount of difference with overtaking, but Antonelli's just checked out at the front.
He certainly has. There's another gap opening up as well between George Russell and Oscar Piastri, 5th and 6th. Piastri is losing touch a bit to George Russell. 7/10 of a second on the previous lap was the pace advantage that Russell had over
ที่มี
the
fastest lap อีก
McLaren.
แล้ว
Maybe the race will settle down a bit, or maybe Kimi Antonelli is just going to go and try and put in 78 qualifying laps on a full tank of fuel here. But as every corner goes by, that lead keeps getting extended.
Yeah, does he really want to build too much of a lead? Because what that means then, you
อ่ะ
stretch
มาดูรีเพย์กลาน
make you open
กลานอะไรวะ
George Russell did look
อื
like
ม
a little bit too far forward,
Yeah.
forward on
เหมือน
there.
รถน่าจะพังไปเลยปะ
So
เนี่ย
into Sandevot we go, and Max Verstappen is already out of the picture, and Antonelli just streaking away there. And there we can see the move Gasly on Norris.
Yeah,
รถพังบ่อยนะ
the outside of Piastri, but had to get out of it because he was too close to the barrier.
George was angling his car as well. Max just
เลือก
getting
ใครก็เลยเสียบขึ้นไปเลย
I tell you what, they
ฮะ
did incredibly well not to smash into the barrier.
ปุ๊บปุ๊บปุ๊บปุ๊บปุ๊บ
Guys, completely. Guys, what the? Man.
Oh, that must be the worst feeling. No further investigation. George Russell for a false start and being out of position. He did look a little bit far forward. He was certainly angled a bit, but the stewards have said that's absolutely fine, so no penalty coming his way.
They've
Good.
obviously seen there was some kind of contact patch of his front tire. This is going to be scary for Norris because he's
Oh, Lando certainly thought that there was a problem, and then there's Max not going.
so Lando very good on the brakes around the outside, but now he's going to get pinched up against the barrier by Oscar Piastri teammate, and this is where Gasly steams past on the right hand side.
เอ้ย
That
ตก
sort
ใจ
of that few seconds can wreck
เอ๊ะ
your
ทำไมมัน
afternoon.
ค้างบ่อยจังวะ
You mentioned
วันนี้
Sergio Perez up into 14th place at one stage. He's been into the
ฮัลโหล
pits.
ครับ
He's been noted too for
คุณ
a
ค้างบ่อยจังอะ
start and being out of position. So we'll keep you
ปวดหัวเลย
posted on that. And whilst we've been talking about that, the gap is now 4 seconds, or it was 4 seconds. Kimi Antonelli trying to make this a race all by himself against the clock, and so far the
วันนี้
Ferraris
วันทัมมิ่ง
have
แปล
got
ก
an
ๆเว้ย
answer to it. Hamilton in second, Leclerc in third, but strategy will come into play as we carry on. Hulkenberg up then
Defend
into
like a
12th
man.
with Max Verstappen's retirement here, chasing Carlos Sainz, who's chasing Alex Albon for the final points position.
Yeah, so
Allez.
what we can often see here is the leader is
Tamela.
actually very slow,
ทำไม
and
ล่ะ
they just back the whole pack up, keeps it tight, and it doesn't generate a gap in there anywhere. For some
เอ
to get some fresh tyres and undercut you, go faster on their out lap. But
Đừng
at the
hả?
moment they're not playing that game.
ทำไมค้างไปเลยล่ะ
It's almost like they've just said to him, okay, that'll do for now. 4-second lead. Let's just balance this for now.
One thing that he might be trying to do is to get far enough ahead of Charles Leclerc so that if he does have to pit before Leclerc,
Subscription
he's not going to come out
หมด
behind
อายุ
him.
กลางอากาศ
Leclerc could then put the anchors
ไม่แต่ถ้าอย่างนั้นมันก็ต้องขึ้น
and that play havoc with the
ให้
Mercedes
จ่ายแล้ว
fans.
สิ
Absolutely, especially as Ferrari are sitting there with two cars against
Allez.
one, effectively. If they want to start playing games, playing
Allez,
tactics,
allez.
using one to slow the pack, and then return that complement a little bit later on.
Now we wondered this year with
Alright,
overtake
yeah.
modes and the increased battery energy that you get with that out of the slow corners, whether out of this corner Portier we could get some overtakes done through the tunnel and cars picking up a slipstream, and we're on board with Lando Norris is just a bit too far behind the Alpine in front. behind that, Nico Hulkenberg is much closer to Carlos Sainz, and I wonder if he's got half a chance.
ชาวบ้านเขาเป็นไหม
Going into the chicane, has to stick behind the Williams again.
The problem is when you're this close to another driver, your reference points
ช่องเพื่อนบ้านเขาเป็นไหมนะ
disappear. Curves, that's why we hit that one a bit too hard. Or braking points, because you're just steering at the rear wing of the car in front. Remember that Lando's effectively sitting on the ground in that position, especially at high
ช่อง
speed.
อื่น
You're
ที่
on
เปิ
the
ดวอช
ground.
ลองก็เป็นเหมือนกัน
And
ใช่
this is really going to be frustrating for him because he's 3.6
เกิด
seconds
อะไรขึ้น
teammate, and that extra power through the tunnel. Bearing in mind the Alpine's also got the Mercedes-Benz power unit, as does the McLaren. It's not really giving Lando
ใครไป
straight
เตะ
line speed advantage, is it? Coming
สายไฟ F1 ทัมมิ่งเนี่ย
Put it this way,
Hello.
Martin, it's a very different Monaco Grand Prix in 26 than it was in 2025 for Lando Norris, who of course won here this time last year from pole position, his second podium and his best podium in terms of success here in Monaco. He's a bit closer, I think, to Pierre Gasly on this lap. Brake issues once again for Valtteri Bottas. We saw that in practice. Out of the tunnel into the chicane, hard on the brakes. You're at about 240 kilometers an hour. What's that in miles an hour? About 150 miles an hour when you slam on the brakes to make that chicane. And getting yourself down, scrubbing up about 100 miles an hour of speed to go into that Nouvelle chicane. Over the curve they go. Norris is able to follow closely behind Pierre Gasly. Bortoletto, if there's smoke coming from Bottas's brakes, will be getting a visor full of that smoke, as he's in 20th place now ahead of Behrman, who has pitted. In fact, from Sergio Perez downwards, they have all made a pit stop in this race so far. We think it's a one-stop strategy. Decided to make it early and then see where they can shape up at the end.
See if they can hang on to those tyres until the end of the Grand Prix. Makes sense. You've got to do something a little. It's a drive-through for Perez, drive-through penalty. So that's 20 seconds and a much worse here. Track position for a
แม็กก็ไม่อยู่
false start. Bernie is down on the pit wall.
สนามก็แซงยาก
I was just having a look there as well. I think that for Perez
ฉันจะดู
will
อะไร
actually put him out just in front of Antonelli, so that might, although he will have blue flag straight away,
ไป
that
เล
would
ยโดน
help
หลายครับ
Antonelli's pace a little bit.
เห็นบอกว่าโดน
I
เพน
think
ตี้
Antonelli is trying to open a gap. He's got a full
ไปทำอะไรมา
pit stop gap to Piastri, meaning if he boxed now, he would come out just ahead of Piastri. And he's trying to, I think, open a safety car window to both of the Ferraris. So he's trying to make sure that if there was a safety car, if he pitted, he would still emerge ahead of at least Leclerc, even if Leclerc stayed out. And
เดี๋ยว
like
รอดู
those at
รี
the
เพลย์
back
ละกัน
made one pit stop,
ว่าเกิดอะไร
potentially
ขึ้น
thinking of going to the end. The only exception, I think, is Aston Martin, who fitted the soft tyre that may not make it all the way.
Thank you very much, Bernie. You lose about 19 seconds of your race time making a pit stop here. If there's a safety car or a virtual safety car, that goes down to about 10 seconds. And it's about 10 seconds at the moment that Kimi Antonelli has on Charles Leclerc in third place.
Yeah, and Antonelli then is coming up to lap Bottas, Bortoletto and Behrman, who have pitted. So they're obliged to get out of the way, but they don't ever want to go too far out of the way, because you just pick up a load of rubbish on your tyres. So
Absolutely.
that's always a peril for the leader.
Esteban Ocon now coming out from his pit stop. And down in 15th place as Sergio Perez serves that drive-through penalty. That's a real shame for him. He got himself up into a nice position with another excellent start. He had one in Canada too. Picked up a penalty in the
แต่แลบ
Canadian
ข้างล่างยัง
as
ขยับนะ
well. And for the second
แต่ว่า
race
ตัว
is being hampered
ตัว
by,
อันนี้
by
มันไม่
something
วิ่ง
in terms of a time added to his race
ทำไม
time.
นะ
Charles Leclerc needing a new gearbox and rear end on the car suspension-wise for the clout on the barriers in qualifying. But he's been a bit out of sorts, hasn't he, since sort of Friday. He looked strong, but he's miles behind Hamilton at the moment, 4.3 seconds, although now just starting to lap around the same time. But the Ferraris at this stage of the race have no answer.
เขาไม่แบบรีเพลย์ให้ดูหน่อยเหรอว่า เมื่อกี้ไปเลยทำอะไร
And you'll be wondering why then is the gap reducing if Ferrari haven't got the answer in terms of raw pace. That's because Antonelli has just had to thread his way through those back markers, and Bortoletto and Bottas and Behrman too. He's lost about a second in doing so to Lewis Hamilton, but of course Hamilton is going to come up and go across those back markers in a few moments' time himself.
Antonelli's been told,
ค้างยาวเลยว่ะ
let's have a bit of
Okay,
brake
like that.
temperature management, especially now you're coming up behind back markers, because that means you're driving through some
มาแล้วรีเพย์ให้ดูซิ
because your brakes are pretty hot. So a little bit
พี่ไปทำอะไรครับ
management to do for Antonelli, but he's cleared those back markers. He's just flown through them.
This is Sergio Perez and the false start. So you've got a relay light system and
น่าจะเกินเส้นปะเมื่อกี้
just a little bit
ใช่ไหม
further forward. It wasn't a lights issue, it was a positioning issue. So Antonelli leads 4.3 seconds is the gap
หลังจาก
between
formation
himself and
lap แล้ว
Hamilton has cleared
เข้ามาตรงกริดเลยเส้นไป
and then he is the car behind Kimi Antonelli.
Antonelli lost 9/10 of a second getting through that traffic, so not too bad. And now Hamilton and Leclerc have got to do the same thing. So Antonelli catching Perez now. It won't really be that long either before he's right up behind the two Aston Martins.
He's going to have to think about tyre management as well. If brakes are just overheating slightly, then he's got to keep his tyres under control here. And whilst we haven't seen a huge amount of degradation, the track temperature at 44 degrees is fairly warm here. Racing in June for the first time in 23 years. There's Hamilton lapping Ollie Behrman. Sorry, there's Charles Leclerc lapping Ollie Behrman. So tyre management is going to come into proceedings. And the Ferraris might just be taking a little bit more caution on this one to keep their tyres a bit more alive towards the ends of this stint on the medium tyre. And it's medium hard or medium soft, depending on how long to go in the race when you make that pit stop here.
So Lewis just took another 2/10 out of the lead on that lap, down to 4 seconds now to Antonelli. Leclerc 4.5 behind him. Hadjar, Anthony at Sky Race Control telling me Hadjar is on the radio saying, all four wheels, all four tyres sliding, I'm overheating, I'm beginning to struggle. And that is keeping George Russell, who's finally had a bit of good news with that not getting a grid penalty there. So Russell then in P5, not too far behind
แต่ละ
Hadjar.
คนอยู่ห่างกันเหมือนกันนะ
Martin, George Russell will leave
ทันเซอร์ห่างจากคิมมี่ประมาณ3 วิ
after 6 Grand Prix this season,
เหลือแค่ห่างกับทันเซอร์อีก4 วิ
championship to his teammate.
ฮัจจาห่างกันเลยแค่อีก5 วิ
65 laps.
Hulkenberg,
มี
good
จอร์จกับฮัจจาที่ใกล้กันหน่อยวิหนึ่ง
6 seconds for them to get Hulkenberg back out onto the track and keep him ahead of Esteban Ocon, who made his pit stop a few laps ago. Antonelli might just be slowing his pace slightly out in front. Hamilton now under 4 seconds behind him and picking up a bit of time on the leader during the course of this lap. He's got Sergio Perez to try and lap, and he should be able to do that. Here we go, down the main straight before we get to Sandevot, so Perez won't have held him up much.
So with the new regulations, the pack has been spread, as always happens. But it's so unusual to see lapping going on because, as I said, the normal strategy, isn't it, is leader just backs everybody up and then pulls the pin and clears off when they're getting ready for a pit stop to then find the gap. But he's just gone for it today.
He certainly has. He's gone for it. Others have made a pit stop early, and that's why, once again, the two things combined are giving us these early lappages during the course of this race. Ollie Behrman is not a happy man out there, has to be said. He's down in 21st. He's been on the radio saying the race is over, guys, for heaven's sake. I'd like to see what happened with the two Haas drivers on the first lap. I think they got together, and Ollie, get the feeling, is not overly happy with what happened with his teammate. But we'll see when we see a replay of that a little bit later on.
You can't think of doing it, I don't think.
15 รอบแล้ว
Ferrari leave Leclerc out, and he starts backing the pack up. If Antonelli, so Mercedes daren't pit before Ferrari with the two Ferraris there. If they could you possibly do that with Charles Leclerc, his home Grand Prix works Ferrari driver, just signed up for another couple of years. Could you think about doing that? But
yes.
If Ferrari want to win this Grand Prix with the speed of Antonelli, it looks to me as if that might be their only option.
ถ้าไม่มีอะไรเกิดขึ้นก็น่าจะประมาณนี้นะ
Ferrari might say you play the team game, and eventually it'll go your way at another race in the future. We're on lap 15 of 78 for this Monaco Grand Prix. 21 drivers are still
เอ้ย
racing. The
จอดไล่มาแล้ว ทันเซอร์มีอะไรครับอ่านไม่ทันครับ
The driver that is out is Max Verstappen, and he never really got going. Here he is talking to Natalie Pinkham.
see you here because everyone's been robbed of what could have been a magnificent start. So I'm really sorry first and foremost. When were you first aware of the issue?
Already the formation lap was not going very well.
เหมือน
Yeah, and
แม็ก
then,
จะให้สัมภาษณ์อยู่
after that, the pre-start was terrible. Like there was just no consistency, and yeah, then the engine just dropped dead. And I only got a little bit of power back after the first corner, and then the engine sounded really awful. So yeah, I could not go full throttle, so we brought it back, and that was it.
Obviously, quali was really encouraging. So you go into Barcelona in just a week's time. What promises can you make to yourself and the team about what can be achieved there?
Completely different things. It will be a good test to see if we actually really made a proper step forward or not.
อเล็กมีอะไรครับรีเพย์เนี่ย
So that will be an interesting weekend.
Sorry about today.
อ๋อ
Red Bull powertrains will be examining that
ลักษณะ
power unit very, very carefully indeed when they get back to Milton Keynes after this race. They've done a tremendous job with that new power unit, building their own power unit for the first
There's a
time. But
lock.
is that a big failure that's cost them big points for this weekend? Alex Albon we just saw going straight through the chicane. Here is George Russell, who slowly but surely has been catching Isaac Hadjar for the last few laps, and is now just a second behind him. While that's going on, Ollie Behrman is right on the tails of Gabriel Bortoleto, who's right on the tails of Valtteri Bottas going
จอห์น
through
เร
the
ดิโอ
top.
บอกว่า
Just make sure you've got good tyres when he does get out of the way.
How does George Russell see front left graining on Isaac Hadjar's car when he's got a gearbox and an engine and quite a lot of car in between him and the tyres? That is a great spot.
It is amazing that George can spot that. It's fairly easy for us here when we...
No frauds, nothing.
Yeah, copy everything. Tyres over peak.
And yeah, it was like Lando on the grid, wasn't it? George is it's a bit telling on somebody at school, isn't it?
คืออะไรนะ อันนั้น
Grid box.
หน้าซ้าย
It's amazing that
ดูแค่หน้าซ้าย
Lando had the capacity to have a
ส่วน
look
ฟอนต์
around
วิง
and
อะ
spot that kind of thing.
Yeah,
หรือยังไงวะ
incredible awareness, it really is. Lap 17 of 78. What's the gap out in front? 3 seconds. It was around about 5 seconds, about 5 laps or so ago. And here's Kimi Antonelli just managing his pace for a little bit. He's now had to lap Fernando Alonso as
ไม่นะ
well
ฮัจจา
as they head through to back.
ฮัจจาจะรอดหรือเปล่า
Has got to get past the Aston Martin, who's running down in 16th place, and George Russell is still right on the gearbox then of Isaac Hadjar, and now within 1 second. So he gets that extra half a megajoule of energy. The overtake mode replacing DRS for this season. Now, that is the state of Isaac Hadjar's front left tyre. Looks horrible.
ล้อหน้าซ้ายของฮัจจาไปแล้ว
That and some other data on our pit wall this afternoon.
Yeah, so I was just having a look to see what does Russell do from a strategic point of view. Does he go early and try and
จอห์นก็เลยบอกว่า
I think that's what Russell's message is to the pit wall. He's like,
น่าฮัจจาน่าจะไหวอีกไม่นานเดี๋ยวน่าจะต้องเข้าไปเปลี่ยนยางก่อน
Is Hadjar's pace, is it prevented him from opening a nice clear pit window? Ideally, he would like to come out ahead of the McLarens, but he doesn't have that. At the moment, he would come out just ahead of Lawson, and he knows that's not an ideal pace to be. So Russell trying to push Hadjar on to increase his pace.
ดูถึงฮัจจาไม่เข้าไปเปลี่ยนยังไงก็จะโดนจอร์จแซงอยู่ดี
Retiree from this race, Valtteri Bottas into the pits after being told that they need to cool the car down and to box overheating issues, maybe on the brakes for the Cadillac once again. So Bottas out just ahead of him, Ollie Behrman. We were speculating as to what might have happened to him on the first lap. Anthony Davidson, 2 seconds.
George, how much pace would you have in clear air? At least 1 second, I think.
That could bring George Russell back into the picture a little bit. Anthony Davidson at Sky Race Control. You've gone back to the opening lap. What do you got for us, mate?
Yeah, basically Behrman was fighting Ocon. He was directly behind him. Ocon thought about going to the inside of the hairpin to try and move on somebody, but then darts back onto the racing line. He had enough
แล้ว
space.
สรุปอันนี้มันจะไม่มาเลยเหรอ
Got
นะ
a bit caught out and just sort of whacked straight into the back of him and damaged the front wings. That's why he had to come in and make a nose change.
So what we've got going on now, Hamilton can start to see Antonelli again down the straight, which is always a great incentive, and Antonelli can start to see the red nose of a Ferrari keep popping up here and there, which
ไม่มาจริงเว้ย
is a little bit more difficult too. So Lewis
ผ่านไป
Hamilton
แล้ว19 รอบ
the pressure on.
But what would you do if you were Kimi Antonelli and you could see the red nose in the background? Put your foot down a bit harder?
I'm sure they're managing stuff, managing pace out there. Although Kimmy's just done a brilliant first sector, so he's got plenty of pace left.
The engine braking is a joke. What's happening?
We're investigating.
Yeah, something wrong. Something wrong. First gear,
อาจารย์บอกเครื่องยนต์มีปัญหา
Yeah, engine braking. So when you pull a downshift, it's like sort of pulling the look at how close this is, and Hadjar under pressure there from George Russell. But basically, when you pull downshifts and the engine revs go up, it's like putting the brakes on. That it's a tool they use a lot of, and he's saying there's too much going on. That's because his tyres are crying enough.
As Lando Norris is chasing
อาจารย์จะได้แข่งตกสักสนามไหมเนี่ยตอนนี้
is experiencing something very similar indeed behind the Red Bull of Isaac Hadjar, showing you just how difficult it is to pass here in Monaco, though. Even with the extra pace that George Russell thinks he's got, he's not going to make a move down that main straight. Let's see when they come into the tunnel next time around whether George can find a way there. It's frustration for both British drivers. It's patience that's needed, and then maybe a gap will open up for them on lap 28 of a race that now sees Kimi Antonelli leading by about 5 seconds. He's now starting to push that little bit harder. I wonder if
อาจารย์
there's
เดี๋ยวไม่อยู่เลยไว้ครับ
6. We're looking into it, mate. We're looking into it.
Also, the power is down. The power.
Power is down. No first gear.
น่าจะอะไรนะกำลังตก
Because of it sort of locking the rear axle. That
น่า
means
จะไม่เหลือแรงแล้ว
Lato's not spooling
สำหรับ
up
รถ
in
ฮัจ
those
จา
slow corners as well. So he'll get poor acceleration off the corners.
Yeah, they look faster.
Isaac, I'll come to you as soon as I have a solution. I'll come to you.
Yeah, because he's got wing mirrors full of the silver arrow of George Russell, and he'd quite like some answers as to how he can do something about it. He's got his feet, and he's got his steering wheel, but he needs his team to give him more power.
Yeah, it's painful for Russell. He knows he could go an
จอ
awful
ด
lot
กระจี้
faster
ตูดมา
than
เรื่อย
Monaco, but Russell is already well over a pit stop behind his teammate out in front because you just can't pass around here. That's the way it is. It's the way it's always been. It's not how it is these days. It's always been. I give you 1992 instead of Nigel
Something is
Mansell.
gonna explode. The engine is not healthy right now.
Okay, we can see the issue. We're working on a fix. We can see it. We're working on
ระ
a
เบิด
fix.
เลยเหรอ
And that fix
มันมี
cannot
บางอย่างพังไปแล้ว
for Isaac Hadjar, who's dropped to over 14, nearly 15 seconds behind Charles
อา
Leclerc.
จารย์น่าจะยื้อไปได้อีกไม่นานแล้วทุกคน
11.5 seconds behind the leader Kimi Antonelli. So Antonelli has got a safety car pit stop ahead of Charles Leclerc. So if he pits under a safety car, he comes out ahead of one of the Ferraris, not the second Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, lock up.
Big lock-up going into the chicane. George Russell is right there, ready to pounce. Has Hadjar got enough torque out of that chicane to stay ahead? Yes. As they go through to back, it's round about 3 car lengths, saving Isaac Hadjar and keeping him in 4th place.
0.48
2 seconds a lap now. Every lap. Cynthia, having a little chat with her on the grid.
0.7
I hope she's having a wicked time. I really do. 22 laps out of 78. Kimi Antonelli 6.2 seconds clear from Lewis Hamilton. Same gap pretty much. Back to Charles Leclerc in 3rd. The big battle going
22 รอบ
at the moment.
คิม
George
มี่ห่างไป
never finished in the top
6 วิ
4 here in Monaco before. Has finished 5th in 3 of the last 4 years here.
แต่นั่นแหละทุกคน
Has a real
ถ้า
chance to try and get
น้องไม่พลาด
but where can he spot an opening and try for these smaller, lighter, more nimble cars, narrower cars for 2026? Where can he try and find
หรือไม่ก็
to squeeze up alongside? Behind these two, Oscar Piastri about 6.5
ถ้า
seconds
ผิด
clear of Pierre Gasly. Lando
ถ้า
Norris
ทีม
back
พิษ
off
ไม่พลาด
again.
ก็น่าจะ
McLaren, he's running in 8th. Liam Lawson
น่าจะจบตามนี้
ninth for him, ahead of
คิม
Alex
มี่ก็น่าจะ
who's in the
แชมป์เหมือนเดิม
point scoring position as
อาจารย์ไหวไหมอาจารย์
looking for the move. Isaac Hadjar placing that Red Bull and exactly
ตอนนี้
the
กล้อง
right
ก็
spot.
โฟกัสแต่ตรงนี้นะ เพราะ
Defensive,
ว่า
both down
จี้กัน
field as well.
เดือดสุดละ
So they start hurting each other's chances.
Currently, there's no fix. We are still working on a solution. Currently, there's no fix. Head down.
Oh, that is a painful message to receive if you are young Isaac Hadjar, 21 years of age and racing here for the first time for Red Bull after a brilliant 6th place finish last year in the Racing Bulls in the B team.
George making some changes on his steering wheel, and Sam DeVot popped up in front of him there. They don't understand how we used to shift gear 3,000 times back in the day. We don't understand how on earth they can make so many changes on their steering wheel and still drive around Monaco without hitting everything.
I just wonder if that switch, Martin, was what they call the strap mode switch. So he's maybe changing places where the battery deployment can have more of an influence in this battle, where he knows he might just need a bit of extra boost to try and find that opening to get past Isaac Hadjar and catch him.
7 วิแล้ว
I don't think he's as close as he was last lap.
คิมมี่ห่างทันเซอร์ไป7 วิแล้ว
Watch out for the next lap with George Russell there.
เยอะจัด
Out of the chicane as well, try and get a bit more power on if the rear tyres will give him enough grip to try and get alongside. It's so difficult, but I think the possibility is there.
So Antonelli, he's gone through that management phase now. He's checking out at the front of the field. He's now 7.48 it is on this lap now, during this lap. 8.1 it's just gone up to, so you can see for yourselves. So yeah, he went through that phase. Now he's gone.
มีอะไรครับ
On board with Charles Leclerc into the chicane, scrubbing off 100 miles an hour of speed, but not scrubbing off enough. And looking at the state of his front left tyre there, well, not helped by going over the curve, but just wondered if a bit of graining is starting to open up on Charles Leclerc's front left tyre.
He's been complaining about his brakes all day yesterday as well, wasn't he, with Charles Leclerc? You can do that 3 times and then you'll get a warning. He won't get any kind of penalty because he didn't save a place or gain a place by it, but if he does it too many times, you get a black and white flag, and then after that it's a 5-second penalty.
We don't like to show you repeats here on Sky F1 during a live race, but this Isaac Hadjar-George Russell battle is being repeated in the Gasly-Norris battle as well. Lando Norris is going through exactly the same pain that George Russell is going through lap after lap, trying to get past Pierre Gasly after being just squeezed out of touch by his teammate Oscar Piastri, who was preserving his 6th place on the opening lap of the race. Norris just got caught out a bit, and Gasly managed to nip past him on the run up Beau Rivage towards Casino Square.
Yeah, so the leaders are in the 1-minute 16s, and then Hadjar 19s. That pins Russell into the 1-minute 19s.
เสียงตัวเองก็ยังได้อยู่
George Russell, his last lap was around half a second slower than Nico Hulkenberg.
ปวดหลังจัง
14th place.
Give it 2 more laps, and because of this, then Antonelli will have 2 pit stops over his teammate in his pocket in terms of time available. They're 36 seconds behind now, and to say losing 2 seconds a lap, and that is the pain that's going on there. But of course Red Bull don't want to bring that car in any earlier than they have to.
Give it 2 more laps as well, Martin, and Kimi Antonelli at this rate might be a safety car pit stop ahead of Lewis Hamilton to get in and out again if we had a safety car. Here comes George Russell down towards the chicane, pulls out to the right-hand side and could do with another 100 metres.
จอดจะได้ยัง
His front wheels alongside the back wheels.
ยังหาช่องไม่ได้
Moves across to the right-hand side does the Red Bull to protect that place, that precious 4th place, and deny Russell again. That was a charge that had been coming for a couple of laps there, and George almost got part of his car alongside.
Yeah, Hadjar put the car in the middle of the track, which is a smart thing. If you go left, it's bumpy and dirty, and you'll probably never slow down for the chicane, and you'll have to give the place back. So George is preferring down the outside, which is still a bit bumpy, but you've got more of a chance to swing into the corner.
Let's just go to Sky Race Control, Anthony Davidson. While we watch George Russell, what is Kimi Antonelli being told on the radio?
He's loving life.
อะไรจอเล็กมีอะไรแค่ทำไมครับ มีอะไรครับ
By Bono to just keep the gap when it was 8.4 seconds to Lewis Hamilton. You can see on the screen it's now 10.2. So he's enjoying driving this car.
คิมมี่นำทันเซอร์ไป10 วิ
Ignoring the advice from his team.
It's not bad. It matched
Good.
Lewis' lap time, so he's just gone 9/10 of a second faster than Lewis on that last lap. Bernie Collins.
ถ้าเป็นอย่างนี้ตลอดทั้งเลส
Would you be telling him to slow down or not?
ไม่อยากจะคิด
I think it's very difficult to tell a driver to slow down around Monaco. Some drivers like to just keep going at their pace and keep the focus up and not manage too much. He's going to get a lot of blue flags now. That's going to be interesting. Still really interested in the Hadjar-Russell battle. I think the saviour for Russell might actually be Liam Lawson. So because of Hadjar's slow pace, Liam Lawson is now closing to that gap. He is closing the pit window that they would emerge behind, and that might prompt Red Bull to stop Hadjar, to not lose that pit stop window to Liam Lawson. So that's only a lap or two away, and that would allow George Russell a nice free track that he's so desperately calling for.
Might start singing Freedom or something like that by George Michael. He could be let loose and back into some race pace that he feels his car is capable of once again. For Isaac Hadjar sliding out the casino square there and looking like he got a lot closer to the barrier than I've seen him do so far, and certainly shaking the fence, the catch fencing on the outside there as he made his way through that right-hander at Casino Square at a mere 56 miles an hour.
So they're making some switch changes to the power unit with Hadjar from the Red Bull pit wall. Let's see if they can help him with his.
เมื่อกี้เรียบร้อยฮัจจา
Now George Russell is going to close up. George Russell looking for a way through on the inside.
เมื่อกี้ฮัจจาล้อล็อกหรืออะไรอ่ะ
Sure, in a couple of moments is a radio message from George Russell saying he cut the chicane, he gained an advantage.
Yeah, by keeping his position. So they'll have a
เดี๋ยว
look.
น่าจะต้องให้
The distance, the time. That's a tough call for the
น่า
stewards.
ต้องให้เวลาจอดป่ะ
That's a last in advantage. So he can't keep it on the track. He needs to get the position up. Copy. He's just out braking himself. He's got no tyres.
Yeah, that's a fair call from George. Let's see what the stewards think about it, if indeed it's put in front of them.
Remember last year, George Russell cut the chicane behind Alex Albon to gain an advantage and got a penalty because he thought it was better than being stuck behind the Williams for a little bit longer. But,
he was right, wasn't he?
He was right, to be honest, on that. But I can see exactly why George has made that radio message. That was going to be as clear as day. If Isaac Hadjar does that again, then the stewards are really going to start getting interested, I think. Hamilton's been told to pit. So come in now
เฟอร์
and
เรียกทันเซอร์เข้าพิท
on Kimi Antonelli. If your tyres are starting to go, we found a little gap for you and we're going to pick you early. Hard tyres going on for Lewis Hamilton. Neat stop by the Ferrari team. Charles Leclerc goes through. Hamilton onto the racetrack in bags of clean space and clean air here in Monte Carlo, and that will do him wonders in terms of preparing his tyres and getting them up to a nice temperature.
But Antonelli had that 11.4 seconds space in his pocket, didn't he? But what will Ferrari do with Charles Leclerc? We were talking about this earlier on, and but Mercedes don't have to hair trigger this.
อาจารย์มีอะไรครับน่าจังหวะเมื่อกี้แน่เลย
They've got a couple of laps in hand before they have to think about what they're going to do if they're going to pit Antonelli as well. Bernie, what can you tell us?
Yeah, I was just going to say the reason that Mercedes or the Ferrari have chosen now with Hamilton is Antonelli's about to come up with about 5 blue flags. So they're hoping that the time he loses through the blue flags and he's gone past this lap, that might be just enough for Hamilton to close that gap and get the undercut done.
Yeah, Kimi Antonelli has got Arvid Lindblad right in front of him. He's just got past Nico Hülkenberg, and there's Colapinto and Sainz just ahead. Lando Norris is very close here to Pierre Gasly, only about 2 car lengths in it as they went through Portier. Here comes Lando Norris trying to get back that 7th place if he possibly can, under braking down the hill into the chicane, and Gasly has got him covered all day.
Yeah, Pierre's got a lot of experience and knows where to place his car. But again, that's 2 drivers holding each other up effectively. But what's surprising me, Piastri, you'd assume with Hadjar's problem, Piastri would just cruise up to the back of George Russell with Russell trapped
สวัสดี
in
คนที่
there.
เข้ามาดูนะครับ
Really struggling for pace around Monaco.
มีอะไรพูดคุยกันได้นะครับตอนนี้กำลังดู F1 อยู่นะส่วนจอเห็นมันค้างๆไม่ต้องตกใจนะมันเว็บเขาค้างไปแล้วอะไอตัววิ่งเนี่ยแต่เวลาที่เหลือยังวิ่งอยู่มายังนะแต่ดูทรงแล้วน่าจะเป็นทางไลท์แหละใช่ไหมเป็นทางไลท์แหละ
Yeah, they started the season really well, didn't they, Haas? But it's been pretty tough.
งั้นเราดูตัวเลขดีกว่าทุกคนอะไรนะอันนี้มันเห็นจอครบไหมเนี่ยน่าจะเห็นครบนะโอเคเห็นครบอยู่ดูเป็นตัวเลขแทนแล้วกันนะ ตัวกราฟิกวิ่งมันบินจากเราไปแล้ว
Just a couple of seconds behind. Then we head back to Gasly and to Norris. Now, if Leclerc pits now,
ต้องดูว่าทีมจะเรียกคิมิกับจอร์จเปลี่ยนยางตอนไหน ถ้าคิมิเข้าไปเปลี่ยนก็น่าจะยังนำอยู่ว่าที่บอกว่า
on board with Nico Hulkenberg in the Audi.
เอ้ย
Just for a moment thought as he put the brakes on that Arvin Lindblad would be right there in the chicane. It's better to head onto the runoff area. Alex Albon taking the quickest way through the swimming pool chicane. That's glanced the barriers, not hit them and break the suspension. And oh, what a dismal day for.
น้องหมีเป็นไรอะ
Qualifying didn't go his way. He was about to
some final flight. น้องหมีไปแล้ว
stops on the track and then
ขอรีเพย์ด้วยครับ
contact with his teammate at the start at the hairpin here today and has been trundling around at the back ever since. He'll be back to fight another day, I'm sure. Here comes George Russell once again.
Firing this lap. Oh, just noise. Okay, we're checking.
Seems remarkably, he's not breathless at all, is he? Just chatting away there, Lando. But, so they're going to pit George Russell this time around then.
จอร์จเข้าพิทก่อน
Get him through undercut to get out on fresh tyres and finally get him past Isaac Hadjar, but where will he feed out into the traffic?
Well, he will feed out behind Lando Norris, I would imagine, and ahead of Liam Lawson. They think that Gasly and Norris will be coming in soon enough that they're not going to be holding up George Russell, but what they don't want to do is get stuck behind Liam Lawson as well. Norris and Gasly have gone through. Gasly and Norris have gone through. George Russell back out onto the racetrack, down in 8th place, having made that pit stop. Isaac Hadjar's been told to fail an engine mode if he can to try and help the situation, and his simple answer to the team is, I can't do it.
Good clean pit stop from Mercedes. That has put Russell into some really nice space ahead of Liam Lawson to come back through. So that's worth a treat. There's a good chance that can put George Russell up into a net P4. When
Let's just see Franco Colapinto and his exploits around Sandevot. Did he get a little bit close to the wall? Let's have a look.
เฮ้ย0 เซน
That's how you take that corner. Well done, sir.
น่าสนใจ
Pit wall, and this time down at McLaren. Zach Brown, I get the feeling, Zach, that you felt it was going to be a frustrating day. How are you feeling with Lando stuck behind Pierre Gasly?
เรดบูลเรียกทัชจาเข้าพิทแล้ว
There's just not anything you can do to pass around here, so we'll see how these pit stops cycle through. See if there's any safety cars. Otherwise, I think everyone's going to pretty much run as you see it.
Thanks ever so much, Zach. We'll be back with you in a moment. Isaac Hadjar is in to make his pit stop. George Russell make his way down the straight. George Russell gets ahead of Isaac Hadjar. The undercut on the Red Bull has been completed, and finally Russell is free.
Lewis Hamilton under investigation for speeding in the pit lane.
Now that is going to be a 5-second penalty at the very least for Lewis Hamilton if he has done it. It's a 60 kilometers an hour pit lane speed limit here. It's not 80 kilometers an hour. It's different because it's so narrow. And Lewis Hamilton, Martin.
5-second penalty for Lewis Hamilton, but he had that.
Do you see the issues with the PU? Yes, we do.
PU being power unit, engine, if you like. So Hamilton, that was quick, wasn't it? Goodness me. In terms of delivering that penalty, so Hamilton finish at least. He won't pit again unless there's any kind of dramas out there. He's got to finish at least 5 seconds clear of anybody else, not least his teammate Leclerc, if he wants to win the Grand Prix, and that takes even more pressure off Mercedes.
He's got no power now. No power. No battery. Got nothing. The default again, please. White default 7-0 again.
We're seeing a lot of power units.
ชอบจังหวะเรียกเข้าพิทของ Mercedes รอบนี้แฮะ
second practice session with what looked like a battery battery issue and certainly a loss of electrical power.
In Canada too.
In Canada too are the bumps of Monaco playing havoc with these power units here.
ส่วนคิมิ
We've
ลูก
seen the issue
ลูก
with
จะเข้าตอนไหนลูก
and we've got Isaac Hadjar in the other Red Bull with issues on his power unit. Now Lando Norris too. Kimi Antonelli out in front, no pressure on him from a driving perspective. The pressure maybe with the Mercedes power unit on Lando Norris's McLaren, and Norris has definitely dropped back behind Pierre Gasly.
Oh
Well,
dear, there
Clark.
we go. That doesn't seem, didn't feel or sound good at all. That'll come in the pits now, I guess.
Last year's winner from pole, Lando Norris with problems. Zach Brown staring at the screens. We'll go back to him in a few moments and see what information he can give us. Meanwhile, down on our pit lane, Bernie Collins, what you got?
Yeah, Crofty, I had a little look there at what Norris's car was doing through that section. Can you do?
The problem is still real.
Yeah, we're still looking for another fix. We are
Oh.
looking for another fix.
รถยังมีปัญหาอยู่ฮะจ้า
So through the tunnel in the last lap, Norris was definitely very down on power. Then I don't know if they've done a switch change, but it not
Lord, we need-
relative to Piastri. So I'd say his power is back. So not sure what the issue was, but seems to have reset.
Right, Lewis Hamilton has been in for a pit stop. He's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Ferrari are now going to respond and bring Charles Leclerc in. And this could be interesting. Lewis had a big gap over his teammate. Should still be ahead of Charles Leclerc when the pit stops have been completed. But is this a chance for Charles Leclerc to finish second in this race potentially and ahead of his teammate Lewis Hamilton once the penalty has been applied? There is Hamilton crossing the line, and we'll see in a few moments what that gap is between the two Ferraris.
Yes, it's normally 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers per hour down the pit lane, but it's so narrow here and twisty in the final part of it that it's down to 40
คิมิ
miles an
ห่าง
hour, 60
33
kph.
วิ
And that
เลยเหร
is
อ
very pedestrian in a Formula One car, but maybe he's attacked the pit in too hard or let the limiter go a touch too early, whatever it is. It's cost him 5
เนี่ยเขา
seconds
ผิดตอน
at
นี้
the
ก็น่าจะ
moment.
Now we can
Spot pilot.
speculate. Anthony Davidson can look at the screens.
Yeah, I've had a look at it, Crofty, and Martin's absolutely right. It was on the way into the pits. It was where he speeds, and I think he's just a little bit late on the pit lane speed button, which will hold the car to that 60 kph here in Monaco. Kimi Antonelli out in front, by the way, because of that penalty with Hamilton, has been told you're safe to Lewis by 14 seconds.
And that's just, that's the gap once you've completed your pit stop, and that's what you should be ahead. And George Russell has now been noted for speeding in the pit lane as Franco Colapinto comes into the pits. George Russell stuck behind Isaac Hadjar and losing a lot of time, now being investigated for speeding in the pit lane, which could be another 5 seconds that he's lost in this race.
Bit of a slam dunk, unfortunately, if they've got a number on you. He got lucky with the grid. Looks like he might be unlucky in the pit lane. Let's see what they decide. They were certainly
ไปมาจะ
early.
จะครึ่งเลนแล้วทุกคน
Of all the trials and tribulations today, none of them so far have affected our race leader, Kimi Antonelli. We are at lap 37, so we're edging towards half race distance. Not been a bad first half for him, Martin.
Yes. I was really sad when we lost Max Verstappen for the team and for him, of course. But I'd love to have seen him in this
คิมิ
mix.
เขาผิดแหละ
But yeah, we'll see how it goes. And the leader's in.
Right, here we go. Kimi Antonelli stops nicely on his marks. The team gets to work.
ออกมาจะ ออกมาจะห่างเท่าไหร่ แต่น่าจะยังนำอีกเยอะอยู่แหละ
Into the sunshine again after making his pit stop.
เดี๋ยวน่าจะยังเหลืออีกประมาณ 20 วิ
Has gone through. Sorry, Isaac Hadjar, who has pitted, I should say, has gone through, but he's a lap down, and Antonelli still in the lead of this race. Back out to the track. Nicely done. That should be his one visit to the pits, and he can carry on where he left off.
He's in control now, isn't he? He's absolutely in control because Hamilton carrying that 5-second penalty that'll be added to his elapsed time. And of course, you have to have if you're speeding in the pit lane, you have to, and it's
13
that's a competitive advantage. There has to be a penalty for it. Otherwise, everybody would just floor it, basically.
Lando Norris is back up to speed again. They seem to have fixed that Mercedes engine. The power unit, I should say, which is great. We can watch him chasing down Pierre Gasly. A little lock-up there from Lando Norris going into Raskas. Arvid Lindblad, meanwhile, is on the tail of Carlos Sainz in the Racing Bulls. Ahead of Sainz is Albon. Ahead of Albon is Liam
จอร์ดโดนอะไร5 วิเนี่ย
Into
Don't
Sandbot we go once again. Gasly still has the advantage as George Russell is given a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh.
Yeah, it sounded fully to me as if Norris was coming in the pits with that when he went straight through the chicane, but clearly a Control-Alt-Delete and he's gone again.
Anthony Davidson, the Sky Race Control.
Yeah, so Kimi Antonelli was told actually on his way into the pits, really steady on the pit entry. We don't want to be caught speeding. So I'm guessing by that's where George Russell, like Lewis Hamilton, as I suspected, a little bit late on the button to slow the car down.
Just wonder, it's interesting that 2 drivers have now been caught for
นอริสได้เปลี่ยน
speeding.
ยางหรือ
We
ยัง
think
นะ
at the start of the pit lane. We don't always see that here in Monaco, although I know as a driver you're trying to push things to the limit, but we don't often see that.
No, but you're turning in blind, aren't you? You turn into the fight, but you miss the final corner effectively. Duck
ครึ่ง
under
ทางแล้วนี่ว่า 39 รอบ
get that wrong.
Right, on board with Lando Norris. We can hear from his CEO, Zach Brown's back with us again. Lando is trying absolutely everything here. I'm assuming, Zach, his power unit's okay?
No, I don't think it is. We're just continuing to run and try and manage through it, but we've got an issue.
I'm going to stop trying to be optimistic here then and
วันนี้
just
อากาศ
ask
มัน
what
อ้าว
the issue
จัด
is.
เลยอะ
Power unit related.
Okay, that's all you can say at the moment. What about Oscar's race? Currently up in 4th place, hasn't pitted yet. It's solid but not spectacular.
Yeah, no, Oscar's kind of having a cruise out there, so he's doing a good job. And yeah, we'll see when we pit here.
Thanks ever so much, Zach. There's a long way to go here. We've only just gone past half distance.
Ooh, that looks a bit close, doesn't it? Through the hairpin. That's as flat as I think I've ever heard Zach Brown, actually.
Should be 1,000 Grand Prix of celebration, but really nothing to celebrate in terms of their expectations here. George Russell's got better tyres, hasn't he? Fresher tyres, might be a bit later on the brakes here. Is later on the brakes, still can't get past. Pierre Gasly ahead of Norris, ahead of Russell, and there's barely about 7 or 8 car lengths between the 3 of them.
Unit related, yeah, it was good as Zach to still come and have a chat with us despite having a difficult afternoon, but they've certainly had a few gremlins this year, haven't they? Like, neither of them got to the
เหลือ
start.
38 รอบ
Yeah, the long association with Mercedes-Benz engines and power units and McLaren that's given them so much success. There have been a few gremlins maybe for this season. Those that haven't pitted so far, Piastri, Gasly, Norris, by the way, Russell has, which is why he's joined up this train very, very quickly. Lawson, Albon, Sainz, Lindblad haven't pitted as yet, and the rest all have as we ride on board through Casino Square with George Russell.
Yeah, this is key for Russell now. If he wants to, he's currently 10 seconds ahead of Hadjar, so he can lose that 5-second penalty comfortably, but not if he's parked up once again. He's just been looking at the rear wing of a Formula One car, hasn't he, for the last 41 laps.
Get the feeling that the Mercedes strategy team felt that Norris and Gasly would have pitted by now, and George would not have been joining up at the back of this queue quite so quickly. Has anyone got enough late braking to try and squeeze through? No, not on this occasion. Needs a bit more tyre degradation, Martin, doesn't it? Needs the tyres to start going off a little bit more.
Yeah, they're pretty robust around here, aren't they, this year? Leclerc 1 minute 16.5, quite a bit faster than Hamilton. There's Hamilton's in traffic, that's why, but Leclerc can smell a second place now with that 5-second penalty his teammates got.
Guess what?
สวัสดีคนเดี๋ยวลิ้นพันสวัสดีคนที่เข้ามาด้วยนะครับ
This occasion has been noted. We'll let you know.
You're right. It's a bit unusually frequent, isn't it? So whether the lines
16 วิ
But
normally that would show up in practice and qualifying.
Yeah, and they would have been practicing their pit lane entry in the practice sessions. No
ส่วน
further
ออสการ์ก็ห่างไปอีก 21 วิ
track and gaining an advantage. He's down
โพเดียมน่าจะอย่างนี้แหละ ถ้าไม่มีใครพลาดอะไรซะก่อนนะ
behind him. The 2 Aston Martins still on their soft tyres. Stroll and Alonso. Will they have to pit again for a change of
จอ
tyres?
จะเตรียมนอริสแล้ว
Stroll just been noted actually for leaving the track and gaining an advantage ahead of these. Colapinto, who is under
Colapinto มีอะไร
investigation
อีก
potentially for speeding in the pit lane. And Anthony Davidson's got news at race control.
Yeah, they might play this message out, Crofty, but look at Lando dropping back from the Alpine in front. He's been told to hold Russell up in benefit for Piastri.
So we saw this last year, and we've seen it in the past here in Monaco, by putting on the anchors for Lando Norris, keeping George Russell frustrated and behind him, opening a gap so that Piastri can pit and be ahead of the Mercedes.
Yeah, it's team play. You've got two cars out there, and it's all bona fide. You can just be a little bit slower on all the apexes and braking zones and just protect the line. It sort of feels a bit unfair, but it's just the rules of the game. You can do that. It's absolutely fine to do that, even though it's a bit painful to observe.
Lando, we want to do the holding strategy on Russell. We want to build up the seconds over the next couple of laps, please.
Thing is, Lando Norris now hasn't got overtake mode, has he? Behind Pierre Gasly. George Russell, fresher tyres, has got overtake mode. So George has got a bit more to play with that Lando hasn't.
He has not created an awful lot of overtaking that overtake mode. There has it so far, but as Colapinto gets a 5-second penalty for speeding as well. Anybody that's coming into the pits yet, they've all got to be told, like, give it extra safety on your way into the pits because there's something a bit strange going on there. But so Lando just has to be fast coming out of the tunnel.
Lon.
Just hold George Russell up.
That's George Russell there, Bernie Collins, reading the strategy from the cockpit.
Yeah, exactly. It's incredible what these drivers can do when they're racing around here, Crofty. But what McLaren are doing there, they are trading Piastri, currently in a P6 position by the end of the race, for a P4 position. So 2 positions gain for Piastri. But it will cost Lando Norris because by dropping back, he is missing the opportunity to get Gasly himself. So it's costing Norris potentially 1 position, but
มะละกอยังไม่ได้เปลี่ยนยางกันเลยนี่หว่า
2 positions, and that's what the McLaren strategists are trading off. So better overall points for the
And
team.
he's now been told back to normal pace. That 2 seconds a lap that you were deficit to your teammate, get back to normal pace now. We've done enough. Thank you.
Yeah, Piastri's got a pit.
แค่อย่างนั้น
20 seconds to pit, and he's currently 14.
ถ้าทั้งแมคคาเรนแล้วก็
Russell's got his 5-second
เอาพีน
penalty as well.
ไปเปลี่ยนยางก็จะ
Let's see how
ปึ๊บ
long
ปึ๊บ
he
ปึ๊บ
holds
ปึ๊บ
him up
'Here
for.
comes George Russell. Sorry, Martin. Just for 1 moment, I
เอ้ย
thought
อะไร
that he
จอร์
was
ด
going to try
จอร์ด
and
จะทำอะไร
get
จอร์ด
alongside. He almost did get alongside, but Norris had just enough to hold him off. That's as close as George Russell's got.
Painful message to give to the reigning world champion, isn't it? Hold him up, but all's fair in love and war and Formula One.
George Russell has also been noted now. Honestly, if he was not having bad luck today, George Russell, he'd have no luck at all. He's now been noted for crossing the line at the pit exit. Remember, there is a white line that separates the pit exit from the track. If any part of your tyre is over that white line, even just a fraction, not even the contact patch, but the extremities of the tyre, that's a 5-second penalty coming your way. Think Max Verstappen in Miami with a pit exit there.
Antonelli's just done a 1:15.7. That's 1.5 seconds faster than Hamilton in second place. And what he's going to do, if George Russell keeps getting backed up, Antonelli is going to cruise up behind, and George will have to get out of the way and let the leader through. That will be doubly painful.
Alex Albon now pits. That'll be good news, I think, to the likes of Carlos Sainz, Marvin Lindblad, Nico Hülkenberg behind that. Actually, Sainz has been backing up a little bit to preserve Alex Albon's position in this race. And he'll come back out into this race, Alex Albon, still in that 10th place. Williams doing what they did last year with their 2 drivers, and that's worked well for them. There's a right train behind Carlos Sainz. Out in front, and Kimi Antonelli. Prince Albert is going to be presenting the trophies to potentially the young Prince of Monaco. Oh, as Lando Norris cuts the chicane.
We're going to box this lap and retire the car. We're going to box the lap and retire the car.
Oh, and that power unit issue that Zach Brown was telling us about is going to cause Lando Norris, last year's winner, last year's world champion, to retire from the Monaco Grand Prix. That's the 4th car out.
Anthony's been looking at the white line incident for George Russell on the exit of the
มันได้ยิน
pits.
ว่าเรียก
Trouble.
ให้อะไรนะ
2 penalties coming
Norris
George Russell's way. That'll be 10 seconds
รีไทร์เหรอ
to add to his time. Not
ใช่ไหม
confirmed yet.
เพราะเหมือน
Lawson
power unit จะไม่ไหวแล้ว
Hamilton there we saw going through in second place. He's got a 5-second penalty coming his way at the end. For
ใช่ไหม
speeding in the
ใช่
pit
ไหม
lanes. 9 seconds clear of of his teammate Charles Leclerc
ใช่
goes
ไหม
through
ผมได้
and
ยิน
Liam
ไม่ผิด
Lawson
ใช่ไหม
back out into this race in
ใช่
8th
เว้ย
place. And with Lando Norris retiring and Max Verstappen retiring, that's a very solid 8th place
ไปมาแล้ว
for
ลง
Liam
แชมป์
Lawson in
โอ้โห
this race to match the 8th place that he found here at Monaco last year, of course. As Lando
แชมป์
Norris
ปีที่แล้วก็รีไทร์แชมป์4 สมัยก็รีไทร์
this
โอ้
weekend and nothing going his way from FP1
เนี่ยแชมป์
onwards.
7 สมัยแล้วตอนเนี้ย
Williams into the World Championship points at the moment as well. That would be very welcome for them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and now Carlos Sainz has been told to swap positions with Alex Albon. So I wonder to preserve Sainz's place because he's still got a pit in this race. If they're going to do a little bit more backing up to get that double points finish. Gasly now manages to pit after Liam Lawson pitted too, and the fact that he hasn't got Lando Norris all over his rear wing. Back to back, by the way, mechanical retirements for Lando Norris. He retired in Canada. He's retired now in
Is there a
Monaco.
reason for this? Because if I'm Peter, what are you trying to do? I mean, I'm happy to do it, but I just... Are we just risking something for nothing, or...?
อะไรว่าไงนะ
What they're trying to do is now release Carlos Sainz. Alex Albon backs up the pack. Carlos Sainz hangs on to 10th place. And Alex, you're at the head of a train, my friend.
Then he's got to slow them down and let his teammate try and build a pit stop ahead of. We saw a lot of this last year, didn't we? When they had to do 2 mandatory pit stops, and it was something. I mean, it's something you've always been able to do, but it was very much learned last year, wasn't it? How effective it could be. Bernie down on the pit wall.
Yeah, totally agree with what you're saying on the Williams. That's exactly what they're trying to achieve there. Bit of a question mark with McLaren for me. They started that procedure with Lando Norris, try and pull Russell back, give Piastri that potential shot at P4, and then they aborted it and retired the car, even though it didn't look an immediate jeopardy from the data that I'm looking at. So a bit of a question mark. Why not continue that with Norris for as long as they possibly could in order to give Piastri that shot at P4? Just an open question, really.
George Russell, I think they've got past Lando Norris there. He was already slowing down.
Something's wrong.
Through the tunnel.
I got nothing. My battery.
That's why they retired the car when they did, because the battery, and it's the battery again for Lando Norris. Second time this weekend, second race in a row that he's retired with mechanical problems. I think it was battery related, wasn't it? It's in Canada. So Georgia got past him through the tunnel, and you can see there where Alex Albon is getting out the chicane, Martin. Right, come on, where are you all? Oh, there you are. Now I'm going to slow down a bit more. This is a legitimate strategical tactic.
Yeah, absolutely. So he'll back that
48 รอบแล้ว
At the moment, Sainz has got he's got a long way to go. He's going to build a pit stop, isn't he? Long way to go. It's going to take another 5 or 6 laps of this kind of getting in the way, basically, which is all it is.
ส่วนทีมนี้คืออะไรเนี่ย
Really
อันนี้
clever.
คือ
By the way, just look, Isaac Hadjar is
มาซ้อมคนเดียวเหรอ
right
นะ
there. He's about to be lapped by our race leader, Kimi Antonelli, who's now 20 seconds clear of Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton on his way for a successive second place finish for Ferrari and what would equal Ayrton Senna's record of 8 podium finishes here in Monaco. But look through the hairpin there. They are queuing up, chomping at the bit to get past Alex Albon.
Yeah, we're being too smart with it, guys.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I don't get it.
What he's saying is you're really risking my position here in the Grand Prix, but Williams really could do with 2 cars in the World Championship points. They've only scored 7 points this season. Piastri pits this lap as well, in what is currently 4th place, and then and Russell's been catching him quickly.
ว่ารถจะไม่มีปัญหาอะไรตามไปอีกคนนึง
Piastri ahead of Hadjar somehow.
Right. There goes the train through Raskas, and Alex Albon can probably hear the drivers behind him shouting whatever they're shouting. As there goes for it, Arvid Lindblad, brilliant from Arvid Lindblad. Opportunist move from him. Hulkenberg can't quite get past, but Alex Albon putting on the handbrake, and the anchor for his teammate has been passed. His position was at risk, and it's been replaced. That final point scoring position by Arvid Lindblad. Meanwhile, great stop for Oscar Piastri, 2.2 seconds, but Isaac Hadjar still goes through quite comfortably indeed. So Piastri back out in 6th place on fresher tyres.
That's exactly what Albon was talking about. Albon on the soft compound
สลับจริง
tyres
ส
out
นามนี้
there. They're only 4 laps old,
50 รอบแล้ว
That was a crucially lost position there for the team.
The one thing that
Alex,
they will
mga
say
kap,
to
mga
Alex
kap.
Albon to give him some sort of relief will be Arvid Lindblad has still
Oh, yeah.
got to pit. But the key
ล้อ
now,
ไปแล้วหรือเปล่า
Alex Albon actually went straight through the chicane there, didn't he?
Now he's got to let him back through somehow.
No, I think I think it was out of that final corner that Lindblad got past. Maybe that was the swap around there. We didn't quite see Alex going straight through the chicane. We picked that up a little bit too late for that. Lindblad's got to pit, so Alex still keep people at bay. Your position's okay.
So I think what Albon was in there, he was probably letting him through on the pit straight, is how that overtake took place, isn't it?
Look,
because of the chicane.
Yeah, I just wondered if Arvid had just.
ทีนี้ว่าไงครับ
If we were to stop again under safety car, we have plenty of margin. You just have to be really careful on the entry and exit. What you did last time was perfectly fine.
Yeah, but I don't think we need to stop.
No. It's only safety car. You can get a free stop, that's all.
The calm, reassuring words of Peter Bonington, Kimi Antonelli's race engineer, just saying, look, just if it's a safety car, you've got a free stop, you'll still be in the lead, you'll be on better tyres, it might just be worth it. And he's just in a great zone at the moment, all on his own, pounding around against the clock with nobody to challenge him in terms of an overtake this afternoon. Ferrari haven't got the race pace of the Mercedes and the current World Championship leader. Charles Leclerc is catching Lewis Hamilton, by the way, who might have just been slowed down a bit by some back markers, but that
จอ
gap
ห่างกันเลย
is
แค่
down to
46 วิเลย
under
ล่ะ
5 seconds between Hamilton and Leclerc, and Hamilton with a 5-second penalty to add to his race time. George Russell has a 5-second penalty. We don't know if there's another penalty coming George
เดี๋ยว
Russell's
นะ
way. He was under
ถ้าดูจากเวลานี่คืออีกนิดนึง
Yeah,
คิมิจะ
so the white line
ล็
on
อก
the
รอบจอแล้วนั่นน่ะ
Gasly's
ใช่ไหม
now
เนี่ย
been noted, by the way, for speeding in the pit lane.
There's an issue there then, isn't there? So the line is moved, or
อีก
the
กี่วิวะ
the sensors in the ground. So it seems a little bit odd, but for so many drivers, and that's what they were saying to Antonelli. Look, and he didn't understand it fully. If there's a safety car, don't panic. We've got plenty of time. If you see a safety car, don't think, oh no, that's the last thing I need. Plenty of time, but be careful in and out of the pits.
Lap 52 of 78. Still, Carlos Sainz, Arvid Lindblad yet to pit in this race.
So Charles Leclerc, 4.8 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton, who has a 5-second penalty. So he's now within. He's at the moment. He's a net second. Is Charles Leclerc?
Yeah, he is. Anthony Davidson at Sky Race Control has been watching Alex Albon very closely for the last 3 laps or so.
Yeah, so had I look back, Crofty, and basically there were 2 separate incidents. So he ran wide just by himself, as we saw.
At the chicane.
But that was a lap before or 2 laps before when he got overtaken on the main straight. Basically, he
ตรง
messed
นี้รถ
up
ใคร
the
วะ
final
เนี่ยรถคิม
corner,
มี่มาเนี่ย
got a terrible exit, and was a genuine overtake.
A genuine overtake here in Monaco. No, we don't often say that.
Not an OG, a Geo.
You've been waiting how many years to say that one? I like that.
That's when Stormzy called me an OG, and I had to go and Google it and see what it meant.
You are definitely the GOAT. You're definitely the GOAT, trust me. Pierre Gasly's got that 5-second time penalty. So that's what 4 drivers, I think, now that have been caught speeding in
โดน
the
5 วิกันเยอะ
pit
จัง
lane.
หนังนี้
So Charles Leclerc within 5 seconds. of Lewis
3 รอบ
Hamilton.
เหลืออีก 25 รอบ
Russell a long way back. Isaac Hadjar.
สวัสดีคนที่เข้ามาดูด้วยนะครับ
And has he been lapped? He's about to be lapped into the chicane by our race leader. Here comes Kimi Antonelli on Alex Albon
ขึ้น
as
แจ้ง
well.
เตือนไหม
The
เนี่ย
next
เพราะเหมือนครั้ง
car
ที่แล้ว
to
ก็ไม่
lap
ขึ้นแจ้งเตือน
Kimi Antonelli is George Russell. If George can skedaddle down the road, he's got a bit of space in front of him up to Lindblad. So George will be giving it plenty, I'd imagine. The last thing he needs to do is to have to pull over and let his teammate lap him.
Yeah, Hadjar has been lapped. So only the top 4 are now on the lead lap. Only 5 cars finished on the lead lap in last year's Monaco Grand Prix. And that's going to be a sinking feeling for George Russell. Lance Stroll's just been noted for track limits. He's already been shown a black and white flag for that, so I think it could be a penalty coming his way once again. The steward's information page is like a football video printer on FA Cup third round day, to be honest. On board when Nico Hulkenberg chasing Alex Albon. Down towards the hairpin they go. There's always a traffic jam down here any day of the week, and Hulkenberg almost making contact with the rear tyres of the Williams in front because Albon lapping in the 121s, his teammate lapping in the 118s, is trying to build a nice gap for his teammate to get in and out of the pits and keep in the top 10.
So 4 track limits for Lance Stroll. He'll be getting a 5-second penalty for his troubles on that one, I would imagine. Those down there in 16. We have 18 runners at the moment. So Sainz then is in the pits. Where will he feed back out onto the racetrack? So he was building just about a pit stop, but not quite. But will it be enough? Has Alex Albon done enough with the key players to hold them up?
I'd rather get the feeling, Martin, that he has. Albon down the main straight. Here he comes. Out comes Carlos Sainz. Alex Albon will go through the first corner with Nico Hulkenberg right behind him, and he'll now see his teammate ahead. Williams have executed that pretty nicely.
Yeah, he did get, because Albon was really slowed him down on this particular lap. So what will happen now? They will now try to build a gap, and then Albon will get the place back again.
Exactly. And
แลนสโตรโดนเพนัลตี้คนหนึ่งอ่ะกี่คนแล้วเนี่ย5 คนโอ้โห
Talking of pits, not sure what's going on today. Another car under investigation for speeding in the pit lane. This time, Oscar Piastri. Something has got to be wrong with the sensors down there.
Completely agree. Look at all those red exclamation boxes there. It tells you everything you need to know on the left-hand side of your screen. So something strange is going on. The sensors moved, or the sensors got an issue, and
จอดมีอะไรสิ
We're just watching George Russell here. This is the crossing the line. He's got a 5-second time penalty, I think, coming his way a little bit. There's a fraction of tyre might be over that line.
Was it? You got to see it.
Doesn't have to be in contact, does it?
อะไรนะ
Just
จะออกมาจากพิษ
You can run along it. You can't cross it, but
ข้ามเส้นไหมทับเส้นไหม
5-second
เลยโดน
penalty
เพนัล
as
ตี้
well for speeding. Meanwhile, Antonelli is in the 1-minute 14s.
อ๋อจ่ายคนหนึ่งเหรอตอนนี้กี่คนแล้วเนี่ย 6 คนโอ้โห
What an extraordinary performance.
เยอะกว่าเลสที่แล้วปะเนี่ย
Davidson Sky Race control on Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, and he was even told, Crofty, before coming into the pits, after the box-box message, they then warned him specifically about the pit lane entry as well. So I really can't understand what's going on there.
To me, too many drivers have been caught speeding today for this to be the
จอด
driver's
โดนล็อ
fault.
กรอบไปแล้ว
There's something weird with the engine up the hill.
เฮ้ย
And that is not
เอาแล้ว
Kimi Antonelli
ตอนนี้
wants
คิ
to
มิ
be
เหมือน
reported.
จะมีอะไร
Want to be hearing.
เครื่องยนต์
Anyone
แปลก
who's a fan of Kimi Antonelli, and there are many, want to be realising
ๆอะไรหรือว่า
fastest lap of the race. No signs that his pace has slowed down that much on this particular lap.
หรือว่า
0.9 behind
สิ่ง
Hamilton.
ที่ไม่คาดฝันกำลังจะเกิดขึ้น
Remember Hamilton carrying the 5-second penalty. I can't see them going, actually, you know what, sorry, we had a problem with it.
ทนหน่อยโลก
And then deleting all the
อีก
penalties.
นิดนึงโลก
Can't do that, can they? But it feels unfair. It feels very unfair at the moment for those that have got a penalty.
A small D-rate, bit of harvesting and charging. Don't worry about it. No further investigation. George Russell for crossing the line at the pit exit. Good.
He was on the line, wasn't he?
จะ
And,
ไม่มีปัญหา
so
อะไร
they've
ปะ
decided-
เมื่อกี้
They've microscopically looked at it. Good. But George is getting away with it today, isn't he? He's got his speeding penalty, but he's still in the game.
Yeah, what the stewards have, of course, will be a head-on shot there to show in exact detail where the extremities of the
Okay,
tyre
Kimi,
was.
fastest lap. We don't need them.
Yeah, Bono just wants this brought home now. We're approaching nearly 20 laps
จอด
to
ก็
go
โดนน็อกรอบไป
between
แล้ว
now and
นี่
the
หว่า
end of this race, and he just like forget the fast
ตาม
stuff,
อยู่ 1
just bring it
รอบ
home. You've got plenty of margin
เอาหน่อย
for
เว้ย
this race.
ไหนๆก็มาขนาดนี้แล้วน็อกรอบทุกคนไปเลยปะ
Was about 2.5 seconds clear of Charles Leclerc. That gap's gone back
แต่
up
จะยากหน่อย
once again. There's back
เหลืออีก
markers
20 รอบ
everywhere as they try and
อาจ
lap
จะไม่พอ
cars
นะ
in front of them. When I say back markers, there's only 4 cars on the lead lap, of which George Russell is the second fastest at the moment. His teammate is fastest, but there's something like 50 seconds between the two Mercedes.
Hulkenberg's hustling there. He's not going to let Williams start playing their game of chess and moving their cars around again.
Just looked here, Martin, at the track map as well. Make that 3 cars on the lead lap, because Russell has been lapped in this race. So only 3 cars on the lead lap. And that's the last time 3 drivers finished on the lead lap here was 2007. Lewis Hamilton was second in that race that year as well.
But he's a net third at the moment, so Lewis needs to find a bit of pace, or Charles to keep him honest, keep him under control. Hadjar had all sorts of problems, but he's still there solidly in 5th place.
So there's your margins. Hamilton 28 seconds back. Leclerc 3 seconds back on Hamilton, 49 seconds back to Russell. There's the swap from the two Williams drivers that Alex Albon will be very pleased about, and Carlos Sainz will now have to deal with Nico Hulkenberg right behind him. The two Williams on the soft compound tyres should have plenty of pace to keep Hulkenberg at bay, but he'll keep plugging on, will Nico, between now and the end of this race.
เราที่60แล้ว
Of the World Championship points, Lindblad yet to pit, the only driver
มันเสียง
who
แบบนิด
hasn't
นึง
pitted at this time, currently running 9th.
2 racing
Hey,
bulls in the
หรือ
points.
ว่า
Liam
จะจบ
Lawson
ก่อน
ahead of him.
3:30 นะ
On for a solid
สวัสดีคนที่เข้ามาใหม่นะครับ
7th. Let's have a little look at Charles Leclerc.
สามารถพูดคุยกันได้นะครับ ตอนนี้กำลังนั่งดู F1 อยู่
Did he just glance the barrier a little bit on the exit? Let's have a look from this angle.
Yes, he did.
Don't want to do that too many times. That'll definitely slow you down.
That's the Met of the wheel rim. Obviously, that was a fair. No wonder he was checking his steering heading down to back corner. That was more than a glance, wasn't it? That was a strike.
Yeah, he's got away with that one as Charles Leclerc. Bernie Collins on the pit wall. Down to you.
Yeah, Crofty, I was trying to think about Ferrari, what their strategy would be. What would I do if I had
สวัส
both
ดี
of
คน
those
ที่กดเข้ามาดูนะครับ
closing down Lewis Hamilton? Is the right thing for Ferrari to switch the drivers? Obviously, Leclerc, if they finish now in these positions, would be
หรือว่าอาจ
P2
จะ
anyway
จบ
with that penalty for
ก่อน
Hamilton.
3
The
ทุ่ม
reason
ครึ่
for
ง
doing it would be if there's a safety car now, they cannot stack the way they are now because Lewis would have to serve that
จำได้
5-second
ว่า 3
penalty.
ทุ่มครึ่ง
If
มี
they
อะ
were
ไร
the
สั
other
กอ
way
ย่างหนึ่ง
round, they could stop both cars, get a soft tyre on, serve the penalty for Hamilton, and that would be a much safer position later on if the gap closed up to Russell. So something for the Ferrari pit wall to start to think about now. When Leclerc gets close enough, should they switch?
And then that's a very, very good point, Bernie. And
Oh.
then, presumably at the very end of the race, they'd switch it back again. Because you're right.
อันนั้น3 ทุ่ม
Hamilton would just have to sit there for 5 seconds.
Lance Stroll on the final.
เอ้าตรงเหลืองแลนสโตคุณโน
And Kimi Antonelli is just coming up to the swimming pool chicane. I wonder if we're going to need at least a safety car here. We are getting a safety car. And is there enough time for the crews to come out into the pit lane? Yes, there is. But will they stop our race leader? No, he goes through. Will others decide now is a very good time to make a pit stop?
They've got enough. The two Ferraris have got plenty of time behind them, even if they do stack Lewis for 5 seconds. So, and Leclerc can hold back. He's not holding anybody up. They're just starting to catch him.
Ferrari crews coming out into the pit lane here. Martin as Lance gets out. Lewis Hamilton is being told to box.
เรียกทันเซอร์
And he's
ไป
not
เปลี่ยนยาง
slowing anybody else down. He
เขา
can do that. And
เรียกเลือกแคล
So this
ด้
is
ว
Lewis
ย
Hamilton then behind Oscar Piastri, who is also coming in to the pits.
ทุกคนใช้
so
จังหวะนี้เปลี่ยนยางกัน
back right up.
เยอะเลย
They'll still have to wait a little while, but they got
แต่
so
เมอร์
much
ซิเดส
time
รู้สึก
behind
จะ
them.
ไม่เปลี่ยนนะ
So 5 seconds, can't touch
จะ
the
เปลี่ยนใจ
car
ทีหลังหรือเปล่า
until that 5 seconds has a lap penalty served.
หรือจะลากอย่างนี้ไปเลย
For Lewis Hamilton, and they are
เพราะ
double
ว่าเหมื
stacking
อน
down at Ferrari. So that sorts
คิมิ
out
ใช้
that
ไป
problem.
23 รอบ จอร์จใช้ไป 28
Longer, that double stack for Leclerc.
But why the hell are we teaching?
อะไร
Why aren't we staying out?
อะไรครับ เมื่อกี้เลยแคลว่าไงนะ
Well, because you're still in third
เหมือน
place.
ได้ยิน
Hamilton's
คำสะบ
still
ด
in second place, and you're on fresher
What the
tyres
hell
now
อะไรสั
than
กอ
the
ย่าง
race leader.
Yeah, because because
โอเค
on the restart, you
Mercedes
need
ก็เรียก
some decent
คิมิ
tyres.
เข้าไป
You don't want cold, heavily used ones.
จ
And
อดก็เรียกเข้าไป
so
โอ
that
เค
worked out quite
น่า
well
จะ
for
เรียก
Ferrari.
กลับ
They
เข้าไปหมด
pulled Antonelli in, but he was past the pit entry.
Now, Kimi, and he's going to be coming in this time round because I can see the Mercedes crew making their way out into the pit lane.
All cars have got to come through the pit lane anyway, because while they're getting that car out of the way on the racetrack.
So, Kimi Antonelli has now caught the safety car, and that will have slowed him down on this lap to come into the pits, and he is coming into pits. There's the safety car, Bernd Mailander leading Kimi Antonelli into the pits. The two Ferrari drivers are just coming to the Nouvelle chicane now. Oh, and there's a problem at the left rear tyre. It stopped him for about 2 seconds longer than you would normally imagine. George Russell is pitting too. That might have held George Russell up a touch, and I wonder if he might lose places here. We shall see when it all pans out. Isaac Hadjar going through. Kimi Antonelli will still be leading this race behind the safety car, but the safety car, of course, is going to bunch everybody up, and they had to pick Kimi Antonelli with the two Ferraris on fresher tyres behind him.
Yeah, it's worked out that there's a full safety car, and it's taking a while to get the Aston Martin out of the way. Otherwise, they'd have been in trouble there. So
ไหน
Lewis is
จังหวะ
now
คุณหนู
served.
มีอะไรสิ
He just locks his brakes, I think, goes in here.
Let's have a look. Final corner. Anthony Noge.
รอล็อก
Got the marbles, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just
Very
off the
quick.
racing line, got off the marbles, crashed at about 47 miles an hour.
Front wishbone's broken as well. So here we go
แฟ
then.
นตัน
We're going to get like a second phase of this Grand Prix.
So this is Kimi Antonelli when
What do I do?
could have come in.
In. I was too late. Okay. They're gonna pit.
เอ้ยคิมิว่าไงเมื่อกี้
Yeah, just a couple of seconds too
ฟังไม่
late
ทัน
for
ครับ
Kimi Antonelli. And I really hope that no one's been speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah.
And we've got more of those penalties coming through. Maybe not going. You can take a wider line going through into the pit lane, but I would imagine the temptation is to go on the inside a bit more there because you're saving a bit of time.
So the safety car scooped them up. It will now use the pit straight to control them at safety car speed. And that was so uncomfortable, the timing, wasn't it, there for Kimi Antonelli? But I think they've covered it well. But of course, everybody's being lapped apart from the two Ferraris, so they'll presumably all be allowed to unlap themselves before we get a restart.
Yeah, this could take a bit of extra time, Bernie, to let all the lap cars through and unlap themselves.
This is the issue with Monaco. It does take a long time to get them all collected up. I think they've been helped there actually by the safety car coming through the pit lane. Team radio.
I don't even know why I'm listening. I honestly at that point, I know we need to become better, but for why are you not letting me out? I didn't even understand your explanation, to be
อะไร
honest.
อย่าแคร์ด่าอะไร
Thanks, Bernie.
Charles not happy in there.
Let's go back down to Bernie on the pit lane.
Yeah, I was just going to comment quickly, Crofty, on Russell. Russell, obviously, we discussed a lot, was carrying that penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And a bit of work across me and Ant went through the onboards. He did not serve his penalty when he took his pit stop under the safety car. And for me, that is not allowed in the regulation. So the bad luck continues, I think, for Russell.
Oh, so you would imagine then, Bernie, that the stewards, if he hasn't served his penalty, will look at that and say, no. You serve it the next time you come in, or at the end of the race if you don't, here's a double whammy coming your way.
Yes, correct, Crofty. You need to serve the penalty the next time you come into the pit stop. So he has not served that 5-second penalty for me. Therefore, that is another penalty for not serving the 5-second penalty.
Because, Martin, you're gaining a sporting advantage.
On the replay now.
Here we go. Let's just watch this. So he cruises in, and the jack touch has got everything. Yeah, they just go for it. So he has not
15 รอบ
got on. But he has not served his penalty. That's why he was hesitant to leave, I think.
Yeah. But they've done that. And George would have got a sporting advantage by not waiting 5 seconds because others were coming in behind him.
Yeah,
And
especially here. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. So if you have to serve your penalty, you lose track position, and you do have to serve your penalty, as Bernie points out.
So Kimi Antonelli had a lead of 29.9 seconds when the safety car was deployed. if it had held that lead, it would have been the largest winning margin in Monaco in the 21st century. That 21 seconds has gone now. Lapped cars can overtake the safety car and they can get themselves out of the way so we can get racing once more. And it's the latest safety car we've had in Monaco here since 2017. If you are Kimi Antonelli, everything's gone your way here this afternoon. You've got no reason, Martin Brundle, to think things won't go your way again. But you've got a 7-time world champion in Lewis Hamilton now breathing right down your neck. And you got on the other Ferrari, Charles Leclerc, breathing down his neck and yours as well.
Yeah, I mean, they've all got freshish soft compound tyres on. So, and Antonelli's had more than enough pace all afternoon, kind of in any circumstance. So I don't imagine he's feeling too under pressure, but he could have done well without it. I'm sure he'd have been much happier if he could have had a nice, comfortable run to the line, because now his mirrors are full of Ferraris.
The order hasn't changed with those pit stops behind the safety car. Isaac Hadjar still fourth, George Russell.
Safety car จะอีกนานหรือเปล่า
Lindblad and Albon completed 10. For George Russell, if he, as we can see, hasn't served that 5-second penalty, there's another one coming his way, and that 5th place might be very difficult to protect between now and the checkered flag.
I always think we've got this back to front. The leaders should be allowed to go to the front of the lapped runners and get on with it.
Yeah.
But we do it the other way round.
Who didn't stop during the course of that safety car? I think everyone did. Isaac Hadjar had hard tyres. He put another set of hards on, I believe. Anthony, to you.
Yeah, just to pick up on what Bernie was saying about the George Russell situation, Crofty, and from what I can fathom, he was told to stay out during that situation, and he came into the pits. I think it was a bit of confusion going on there from what I can read into the radio messages based on where the car was on track. They had to double stack. It's quite a lengthy double stack for Russell, and they changed tyres immediately as soon as he got into his pit box, so there was definitely no waiting around. But from what I can hear, he was told to stay out.
Right, interesting. So it's split-second decisions that need to be made by experts in their craft, and the time is not.
I
spent about 10 seconds into pit lane.
Let's talk about it after.
Yeah, I just need to know if I'm getting a 5-second penalty and I'm still behind Hadjar on hard tyres.
I'll give you the messages as the messages come through. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
George Russell communicating there with his race engineer and not sounding overly confident in the outcome.
I fear it might even be more than 5 seconds. They can give up to 10 in that situation because it is a big sporting advantage. Safety car is in this lap.
Right, as the back markers are far enough away from our race leader Kimi Antonelli, so we can get going again. There's his teammate George Russell. He had been lapped, so he's trying to get himself a little bit further towards Isaac Hadjar. But there, Isaac Hadjar's built himself a nice little gap here, to be honest.
เหลืออีก
lapping himself.
13 รอบ
George is quite a long way back. Lindblad's quite a long way back.
เซฟตี้คาร์หมดพอดี
The key thing here, Martin Brundle, is Kimi Antonelli, championship leader, 19 years of age, going for his first ever Monaco Grand Prix win and what will be his 5th Grand Prix win in a row. And now, after a 30-second margin over Lewis Hamilton, that gap is down to a couple of
ถ้าท่านเซอร์หาช่องได้
has gone. No one can overtake until the start-finish line. But
the car's alive, isn't it?
Yeah, those tyres are cold on both cars, I think. There, Hamilton down the straight we go with Antonelli. The car in front to try and chase into Sandoval. Looks all a little bit.
เอ้าเลย
Charles Leclerc has gone into the barriers, and that
อะไรนี่
said the tyres were cold. Did he get on the marbles? Did that cost Charles Leclerc there? But he's definitely out of his home race. We're going to get another safety car.
โอเคเลยแค่ไม่เป็นไร
For Charles Leclerc on lap 66 of the Monaco Grand Prix.
Dear, oh dear, Charles. So all Antonelli
had
to do was spot the breaking point into Sandoval. He did that
ผม
beautifully.
เล็ดเขาอะเนาะ
He's going to have to do it again yet. As
คือแบบ
Leclerc angry with himself.
จะได้ 2-3 อยู่แล้วอ่ะ
Then up into a podium position. with Russell right on his tail.
เสียดายสันเลย
Charles Leclerc,
เกิด
let's
อะไร
have a
ขึ้น
little
ครับ
look
รี
at
เพลย์
what
เดี๋ยวดู
happened
ซิ
here. Cold tyres, cold brakes. He was urging the safety car to go a bit faster. Lewis Hamilton locked up ahead of him. Where's that left front tyre? There's a bit of resurfaced tarmac on the left-hand side, Martin. I'd like to see that on board again.
รอล็อก
Honestly, I'm not think I'm going to take the lane. These brakes.
อืม
But look at the tarmac he gets on, which looks like it's breaking up a little bit. To
Yeah,
be
it does.
fair,
Very similar to Stroll.
Yeah.
Almost a carbon copy of Stroll. So we got something going on that piece of tarmac if you're a little bit wider because
มุมเดียวกันกับ
he
คุณหนู
just
เลย
had
ปะ
no
เนี่ย
grip when he got there. He had no grip. He can't blame
โอ
himself
เค
too hard for that one.
cars coming through the pit lane once again.
Gasly noted
ทุก
for
คนเข้าพิทกันอีกรอบ
For a second time for an Alpine in this race, but another driver noted for speeding in the pit lane. Isaac Hadjar is now up into the podium places. A podium place for
ออกมาน่าจะเหลือ
in his racing career.
70 รอบ
Isaac
ปะ
Hadjar, of course, he finished third in
ไม่
Zandvoort
แน่ใจ
last year. He might be finishing third here in Monaco. And a lot of the crowd absolutely stunned by what has happened here. Two drivers, both heading to the barriers at the final corner in pretty much exactly the same way, with what looks like some crumbling asphalt on that left-hand side that they definitely got onto, and crashing, Martin, at about 46 miles an hour, which you don't really see Formula One drivers do.
It just pushed on a little bit there, didn't it? But yeah, that was. I mean, it was a nothing. He couldn't even feel it sort of developing, I'd imagine. Charles.
He's furious. He's absolutely furious. A week that started so brilliantly well. Oh, look at that. With the contract extension for
บ่นกับทีม
Ferrari,
ยับเลย
keeping him at the team for many years to come. And what should have been a day of celebration and another podium here in Monaco for him has ended.
แต่เมื่อกี้ก็
Safety
ยก
car resumption.
รถเลยแคลร์ออกไปแล้วก็น่าจะเหลืออีก 68 รอบปะเอ้ย ไม่ใช่ จะเป็นรอบที่ 68 จะเหลืออีก 10 รอบโอ้ผลกันหมดแล้ว
Coming his way, Anthony Davidson at Sky Race Control.
Yeah, so you noticed that
น่า
bit
จะ
of
ได้อยู่มั้ง
tarmac breaking up before Anthony No's final corner, Crofty. Just
หรือ
have a
เป
look
ล่า
back at
จะ
Stroll
เคลียร์
as
ไวข
well,
นาดนั้น
because
หรือเปล่า
I wondered, is it something similar to Leclerc? He was under full racing speed, of course, and he's trying to avoid that bit of broken up tarmac, gets onto the marbles on the outside of it, and he's straight into the barrier.
จะเหลืออีกกี่
So
ร
they
อ
are
บ
definitely trying to avoid where it's all broken up.
So there's two lots of peril here then. Pit in and the speed limiter, which has clearly got some kind of issue because it's just tripping up way too many people, even though they're told to be cautious about it. But that little piece of tarmac right into the final corner. And yeah, as soon as you get on what we call marble, literally marbles, and your tyre just rolls across the surface, and it's just a hopeless feeling. And the trouble, I know what it's like. For Charles Leclerc there, we've all had it. You are so full
ได้
of adrenaline.
Oh, we're going to
เรดแฟกเกิดอะไรขึ้น
They're going to red flag this race.
The fuck?
I wonder if this is to do with the final corner. Charles Leclerc's Ferrari has been cleared, so the marshals have done a great job to remove that car, and the race director has now decided we need to stop this race for the time being.
ว่าไงครับ
Race suspended.
ทำไม
Will
รอบ
it
นี้
be
เป็นจอ
race
ร์ดอะ
stop?
เกิดอะไรขึ้น
This is George Russell and the pit stop behind the first safety car, and the reason why he is under investigation for failing to serve a time penalty correctly. You're meant to wait 5 seconds before you touch the car. He had to serve the penalty the next time he came in, and nobody waited.
Yeah, and the folk on the right front were hesitant. They knew they shouldn't be touching the car. Race suspended. If that's tarmac breaking up, don't really know what they can do about it.
Track temperature was about 45 degrees when we started this race. It's down to 35 degrees now. It's not like, if it is that piece of track, Martin, it is not like they're gonna fix it. It's not like there's a pothole, we can come and fix it in the space of 10 minutes and get going again.
Unless they think they can sweep away any sort of rubble that's out there. But if it is indeed that surface, then this is a really tricky one. They can't exactly put a cone down, can they? Like this.
We've seen many things in our time in Formula One. I've never seen a cone on the actual racetrack itself, but you never know, might happen. Pierre Gasly has been given a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and this all needs looking at as well as to why so many drivers have been caught speeding today. So they've all returned to the pit lane. The session, the race has been suspended, stopped, suspended, not gone, that's it, we're not going to get going again. We have suspended the race.
And that means they all have to stop in the fast lane of the pits. If you have to take your car out of that fast lane, then you're into a different procedure. So they're in order, and let's see what they do. Just checking the seatbelts there or something on. No, they're taking the headrest off. This is the last thing Kimi Antonelli needs. There's all this disruption. He had it so well covered. The FIA will check the surface of the racetrack, so that is the problem.
Yeah, that is absolutely the problem. Zach Brown at McLaren, I'm sure you've been monitoring the state of the asphalt on that final corner, Zach. Can you give us a perspective from the team's point of view?
Yeah, from what we can see, it looks like there's lots of marbles there, so I don't know if it's coming up or they just need to clean it, and we'll see how they want to do the restart here.
What's going on with this pit-in penalty? We've got 7 or 8 drivers now been caught out with that, including Oscar. Well, what on earth's going on there?
I don't know, it is strange, but on our data we showed that we were speeding, so in our instance it looks like it was a legit penalty, so yeah, it is unusual.
Has Oscar been saying anything to you about the track surface at turn 19 at the final corner?
Nope, not at all.
And have you managed to have a chat with Lando at all since he came back to the garage after retiring?
No, we've been focusing on the race at hand.
I'm expecting, Zach, another no to this question. Have you found a reason why he did retire from the race?
No, not yet. We'll work with HPP on that. We know what the issues were, but not exactly sure why they happened.
Okay. Zach, thanks ever so much. We'll be back with you a little while. George Russell is being investigated, and we feel a double whammy penalty might be coming his way. But Martin, I want to get going in this race. I do want to see this through to the checkered flag for no reason other than Kimi Antonelli and Lewis Hamilton on the front row, standing starts, if we can get a restart, and a blast down the Sand of Oz. Come on, bring it on.
Oh, that's a tricky one. That is a tricky one. Look how long that is. It's 3-4 meters long. They can clean it up.
This has all been resurfaced, by the way, since last year's race. This
แทก
bit
ไป
here.
หมดเลย
Refresh that bit, doesn't it?
อันนี้ก็
So
เศษซากของใคร
give
เนี่ย
it a clean and tell the drivers to be careful of it. What they're going to do here? This is highly unusual, to say the least.
Now he was blaming brakes, Charles Leclerc there. Might not just be brakes.
Agreed.
And Lance Stroll went out during the race, brought out the first safety car. There's Fred Vasseur in the background there. Great to see Fred, by the way, back at the racetrack today, and well after his short visit to a local medical centre.
Yeah, he looked fine earlier on when I saw him. But you're absolutely right. On this restart, they can decide it's going to be a rolling start or a standing start. And we'll find out in due course, assuming we do get a start. So I guess if you cleaned all the marbles away, depends how the rest of that surface look, but this is touch and go. I think that's really touch and go. Looking at a critical turning point there, you can tell the drivers you got to miss it. It's like, got to miss the barriers as well. You got to miss some of the pavements and curbs and manhole covers. Let's see what they do.
Isaac Hadjar started 5th on the verge of a Monaco podium for him after all his troubles with the power unit earlier in the race. He's still in this race and he's on for a podium currently. Franco Colapinto would love a restart and a chance to improve on his P13 position currently. Esteban Ocon on the fringes of a points finish potentially here in the
ตอนแรกนึกว่าจะไม่มีอะไรให้พูดถึงแล้ว
second points
สนาม
finish
นี้
in a row here in Monaco. Carlos Sainz in what's his
กลายเป็น
11th
ตอนนี้มีแต่
start
เรื่อง
in Formula One, keeping up at the moment his 100% point scoring record in Monaco. But if we do get a restart, it's going to be tough. And George Russell will be desperate, I'm sure, for a restart. Otherwise, what penalty do you give him? A time penalty? that would maybe take him out of the points if it was like a 10-second time penalty.
Would be horrific for him because they're all in a crocodile behind the safety car, and
definitely take him down to 8.
if they don't
วันนี้เรา
restart now, so
แวะไปดูอย่างอื่นเราจะโดนยิงไม่ได้
he will be desperate that they restart this race. Meanwhile, Anthony has left Sky Race control and dashed to the Sky pad.
Yeah, bit of a sprint in my smart shoes, but I made it. It's quite far from where the commentary box is, but I wanted to show you a few things here. So starting off at the beginning of the race, I just wanted you to look at this area here. Very different, this fresh bit of tarmac compared to how it unfolds, quite literally.
อีกนิดนึงก็100 ปีนะสนามนี้
So the track was in obviously a good state at the
อ๋อ
start.
หรือกะว่าแบบแข่งครบ100 ปีก่อนแล้วค่อยแบบ
We get
ย
to
กเลิกสนามนี้
the
ปะ
stroll crash, and we know we've seen this car is very hard to drive all season so
ถนน
far.
แตก
Some further crashes or incidents during FP1 and 2 where the braking seemed to be catching the drivers out. So when I saw Stroll in the barrier, I just kind of assumed it was either the car that had broken or sent him off into the barrier. So after seeing Leclerc's crash, I thought, let's go back and have a look at this. So this is under full racing speed, of course. And on the exit, I'll stop it because this one, I think, shows it in the best details. I've just seen that freeze frame of how the track was at the start of the race. Look at this area now. Track all broken up. There's a hole there. I'll just take away the zoom function and just go through a few more frames here. And what I first thought up at Sky Race Control were marbles at the side of the track. I don't think it is. I think this is the actual pieces of tarmac that have broken up and are laying on the side of the track. So poor old Stroll is trying to avoid that part and edging the car closer than what would necessarily be the racing line or ideal line into the corner. He gets onto these marbles of tarmac instead of rubber, and you can start to see them get picked up by the tyre here. Look at these massive chunks
กลับมาแข่งไหมเนาะ
get picked up by the soft rubber, and he's got no chance to make the corner. The lock goes on and straight into the barrier, and he's probably thinking,
ถนน
what
แบบ
on
ว่าดู
earth
น่าแข่ง
where
ขนาด
did
นั้น
that
เชียว
understeer would come from? Because in the car, as Zach was saying, Piastri hasn't mentioned it because it's probably quite hard to see. You sit so low down. So of course, when we get to Leclerc, who's on cold tyres, just get on the restart. I think combination of the brakes and those marbles, and I've just spotted it again on this. Now I know what I'm looking for. I mean, look at the amount again that the tyre picks up. So he's probably thinking and
ยังไง
cursing
ดี
the
ครับ ยังไง
brakes.
ดีครับ
I think it might actually be more the marbles than what's caught Stroll out has caught Leclerc out in exactly the same way. I thought it was too much of a coincidence, and it absolutely was. So hence the red flag. They've got to repair. They've got to do something before they get this race going again. This is what it looked like from the off-board.
Yeah, I don't think so. We sweep it up. The drivers know where it is. They can have a look at it, and we can restart this race because it's like I don't know. It's like a bit on a. It's like a rainy day, and there's lots of puddles. You've got to avoid the puddles. So I believe that we can. Looking at that, I believe we can. We should. It's a low-speed corner. It's not a high-risk situation for marshals. It's not a high-risk situation for drivers or fans. Drive around it like you drive around some standing water that you don't want to aquaplane on.
That's the clean-up operation, the marshals with the brooms. So it's that thin strip there. But it's not a pothole, Martin, but it's clearly the bits of asphalt underneath the surface. And if you stay off it, then it's not going to break up anymore. If you go on it, you are going to get bits of track stuck to your tyres because tyres are sticky and they are hot, and they're going to give you what they gave Charles Leclerc and Lance Stroll, no grip whatsoever, and you're not going to make the corner. It's only a slow speed corner, 46, 47 miles an hour. Is it safe enough for the FIA to say, look, we're going to resume this race, but take your risk if you go out there, stay off it, you'll be absolutely fine. Can they make that decision?
Yep. I might even say to the drivers, come and have a look at this. Come and have a look, see what you're dealing with, and then get on with it. And Gasly's angry because he's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Pretty much half the field have done that now. Is that his second one? Is that Gasly's second one? I've lost track.
Colapinto got one.
Gasly got one earlier on as well. But anyway, something bizarre. It's the same zone. Actually, the pit in is 10 meters away from the bit that's breaking up. It's really catching everybody out today, that little zone. But the problem is when you come into the pits, you swing around the back of a barrier and you're straight onto the line. But they would have noticed that in practice and in qualifying.
Confirmation from Bernie Collins, who has gone back and scrolled back on her timing screen that she can do. We can't, sadly. It is 2 penalties for Pierre Gasly for speeding.
Yes, that's so.
There's a safety car infringement being looked at involving Isaac Hadjar. Do you remember the 1984 Dallas Grand Prix?
No, because I was in hospital with my legs all smashed up.
That's a good job. Not that your legs were smashed up. It's a good job you weren't there. 13 cars hit the wall that day when the track surface broke apart.
We had the same in Montreal one year, where the turn 10 hairpin, it all broke up on the inside. 1984-85, we went to Spa with a brand new surface, and we all had to go home because the surface came up during the, what was then the F3000 support race, and we had to go back later in the year.
เราสามารถทำอะไรได้บ้างในช่วงนี้
The new surface just came up, and we had to abandon the Formula One event.
So it has happened in the past. Crucially here, it is happening right now. Is Pierre Gasly's frustration that we saw there because he doesn't think the race is going to get restarted again, and that's not going to be good for him if he's got a penalty coming his way. George Russell with a penalty for failing to serve his time penalty correctly. That's going to be coming his way. Isaac Hadjar might find that there's a penalty coming his way. I'm just looking here. If Hadjar, Russell and Gasly all get time penalties and enough of them, where's that going to put Piastri and Lawson by the end of this race?
We've got a resumption order suggesting we are going to resume.
It's a new verb for me, that one. To resume. Nice one, Martin Brundle. Charles Leclerc is on his way to speak to the media. We can go down to Bernie Collins. Bernie.
Yeah, can you hear it? Yes, someone has turned my microphone up. I was silenced. But what I was going to come in quickly with, Crofty, is looking up and down the order. Obviously under the red flag they can all change their tyres. I expect them all to be putting on a soft tyres. There'll be only 9 flying laps when they leave the pit lane at the end of this. The big benefit, do you remember our discussion with the 2 Williams and that Arvid Lindblad had gone by and not done a pit stop yet? Well, he has still not done a pit stop.
But he can change his tyres though now, can't he?
Yes. So he can change his tyres now, and if they get going again, he'll have completed the Monaco Grand Prix without a pit stop and got that car into a beautiful P8 position. Maybe even more, depending on the
ส่วน
penalty.
ฮัจจาตอนนี้ก็คือแบบว่าดวงดีจัดเลย
For Arvid Lindblad that he's not done that pit stop before the red
ถ้าเกิดว่ากลับมาแข่งต่อเนี่ย
I have to still go through all the regulations to figure out if it doesn't get
มี
going
โอกาส
again,
สูงที่ฮัจจาจะ
compliant with the
ขึ้นโพเดียม
regulations of having done 2 sets of tyres. So a bit of work for me to do on that one still. But just in case it gets going, Arvid Lindblad in a very strong
Well, that's the risk you take by leaving your pit stop, your mandatory pit stop, or running off 2 different compounds of tyres as long as they've left it at Racing Bulls. The benefit is obviously there. If he changes his tyres now, he's not lost any of race time by pitting during the racing action, so that promotes him up to 8th. But if we don't get a resumption, and I think we probably are going to get a resumption, then if we don't get a resumption, then I think you do get a penalty then because you've not run the 2 compounds. Now, let's have a look once again at what happened to Lance Stroll, because I think we can hear from him after this in the media pen. This is into Raskas, and he's looking now to try and just avoid that break up of tarmac. Didn't happen. Into the barriers. Let's hear from him from Natalie.
Lance, you had an almost identical incident to Charles Leclerc at the same spot. How aware were you of the damage to the asphalt there?
No, for me, I don't think it was the damage. We had engine braking issues all race, so and all weekend, all year. Some corners it's pushing me forward, the engine. Some corners it's like pulling, so it's doing different kind of behavior in different areas. And on this lap, it just pushed me into the wall, like you have the throttle pedal half open, just pushing you into the wall.
So a coincidence that it was in the same place? I mean, were you aware of the damage to the...
I think it's coincidence. different issues in the race.
But in terms of racing there, were you aware of that? If you look behind you on the screen, you could see that strip of tarmac. Were you aware of
Maybe
that?
it was braking a bit, but my issue was just the engine was like pushing me into the wall. That was my problem.
Thank you.
I think when he sees what's going on out there, I think
เสียงดังทะลุไปมากป่ะเมื่อกี้
any benefit of seeing what's been going on with the racetrack,
ดี
he
นะไม่
might
มีคน
change
ดู
his
ตอนนี้
mind on that. But George Russell has some very bad news.
He does. A drive-through penalty for George Russell for failing to serve his
ตัดไปเล่นเกมซะเลยนี่
5-second penalty correctly. They didn't wait long enough, Bernie. It's a drive-through penalty. Now, will he pit again? Potentially not for strategy to serve that drive-through penalty. And if he doesn't, how do you apply it at the end of the race?
Yeah, so if you don't serve a penalty, if you don't do a penalty by the end of the race, a drive-through, for example, a drive-through
ซ็ต
they
กล้อง
should
แบบ
do within 3 laps if this
เซ็ต
race
ฉากแบบฉุก
restarts.
เฉินกัน
If you don't get it served or you're too close to the end of the race,
เรา
it's
จะสา
20
มารถ
seconds.
ทำอะไรได้บ้างในช่วง
Now
นี้
in
อันหนึ่งนะ
Monaco, the pit lane is shorter than that 20 seconds. So even if it is in the closing laps of the race, you would try to serve that penalty.
มันต้องยัง
That
ไง
is
วะ
a
เนี่ย
penalty that cannot be served under
ถ้าย่อ
safety
อัน
car.
นี้ล
So
ง
if we were,
อีก
let's say, to restart
แล้วก็เปิด
under safety car conditions,
อัน
it
นี้ขึ้นมา
can't be
ทับ
served. It will be added on at
ไห
the
ว
end.
นะวะ
One final thing, just we watched that pit stop through for George Russell there, and you could see the confusion. Ant explained very well where that came from. The pit lane weren't ready for him. George was actually quite a lucky boy that they even had tyres out there if they weren't ready for
แต่อ
him.
ยากเก็บคอนเทนต์อันนี้เอาไว้นะสิ
The team will have been told, and we go through this time and time again.
ถ้างั้น
Wait,
ถ้า
they'll
งั้
call
น
it pit,
ก็
the,
จะ
pen,
เหลื
the
อ
5 seconds out. That comes from the pit wall. That will be given down to the guys in the pit crew.
นี้
If
กัน
you hear someone start, if you hear the jack or another gun, you've already messed up the penalty, so you might as well get going. And that was the delay on the front right. They knew they were supposed to serve the penalty. They heard some others go, and then they had to catch up. So very mixed from Mercedes, but I think that, and George will still, I believe, have to serve the original
Game
penalty as
capture.
well. So there's quite a lot adding up on top of George Russell's day. So he'll be hoping they at least get some racing and it starts to spread out a little
George
bit.
Russell's going to be out of the points here, Martin. The lap cars are going to be unlapping themselves and pushed to the front of this queue. George is going to find himself out of the points, surely.
มันต้อง
And that is for a second race running with his teammate winning and potentially winning to lose out on the points. Not what he wanted in the slightest. George Russell in what is his 158th Grand Prix. Same number as yourself, of course, Martin, and not going his way at all. And at the Skypad, to you.
Yeah, thanks, Crofty. So, yeah, brilliantly explained by Bernie as well. So,
เรียก
hopefully
ว่า
this
มาตรการฉุกเฉิน
will fully explain to the viewers back at home exactly what I heard on Sky Race Control. So I'm just going to play it. I won't talk over it because you're going to hear some team radio and it all unfolds like this.
Staying out. Staying out. Let's get tyres ready to swap. What am I doing?
And there we go. I think that's the easiest Skypad piece I've ever had to do. There's no explanation
Try
needed.
harder next
So,
time.
yeah, so you can see how the engineers wanted him to stay out for obvious reasons, and then just that moment where you're just that delay. It's always hard around this track, we know, with the GPS to know where the car is for the engineering team, and George is already peeling into the pits like everyone else was in front of him.
And had he not have done that, Martin, then he loses out behind the safety car and he loses track position. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Wasn't that one of those moments where everybody was going through the pit lane anyway?
Yeah.
When at that time they were all obliged to go through the pit lane because the car was stuck out on the track. So poor old George, it just will not fall into place with him because when he serves that penalty, he's going to fall to the back of pretty much everybody. But Kimi Antonelli absolutely dominated this event. Brilliant pole, brilliant start, completely under control. And here he is still facing peril to get it over the line in these final few laps. Bernie.
Yes, hello. So I'm obviously in my position at the pit wall. I was just going to ask Crofty to confirm something for me. Crofty will know the answer to this for sure. Stewart's office, is that just upstairs to my left-hand side?
It is down that end of the pit lane, yes.
Yes, so who do you think I would have
อยู่ตรง
spotted
นี้แหละ
running into the steward's office to try and
ไม่มีอะไรให้เปิด โอเค
potentially plead their case?
Toto Wolf?
No.
ของพิเศษไม่มี
George
ไม่มี
Russell
ไม่มีอะไรที่อยากได้ โอเค
Hopped out of his car, they all got out of the car during the red flag.
Okay.
I've just seen
Tutup
Kimi
ka.
Antonelli there go back to the garage to chill out.
กลับ
Russell
ไปอยู่
has
จุดเดิม
come
ด้วย
down, spoken to some of the FIA people at the front of the line of cars, hopped over the barrier, up the
okay.
stairs and
Oh.
into the office. So I think he's pleading his case, but
โอเค
maybe there'll be another penalty
จะได้
for
ไม่หนั
going
ก
up
เกิน
and
ไป
pleading his case mid-race.
If you do it politely, they don't mind. But let's just be absolutely
ป
clear.
ระมาณนี้
P3 Hadjar, P4 Russell, P5 Gasly all have some kind of penalties or investigation going on. Hadjar's still an investigation for a safety car infringement that can soon be a drive-through as well.
ระหว่างนี้ก็มีรีเพย์ให้ดู
Now this is potentially what happened here. Is that backing up too far?
Josh, 10 car lengths. Way more than 10 car lengths. Copy.
Yeah, he's trying to make himself some space. You can't do that. You can't disadvantage your rivals. You've got to stay within 10 car lengths of the car in front. And that is, George knows his rules. And that is what they're looking at then for Hadjar. I mean, Piastri sitting there having served his penalty, actually sitting there with a possible podium, believe it or not, in 6th place.
Yeah.
เอ้ย
Ferrari fans
อด
still
ดู
have
ไลฟ์วีที่อยากดู
Lewis
ซะแล้ว
Hamilton as their hopes for this race. Charles Leclerc is out. Lance Stroll is out. Lando Norris is out. Ollie Behrman out. Valtteri Bottas out. Max Verstappen out after the first lap of the race. This is what happened to Charles Leclerc. The race was red flagged shortly after this. Got onto that surface. No chance of avoiding the barriers. Let's hear from him. He's with Natalie.
Charlotte, it's either heroics or heartbreak here in Monaco for you. I'm so sorry that you're here again now with that massive disappointment. You talked initially about the brakes, as you have done before, but then seeing that there is damage to the asphalt. So what was it down to, do you think?
Brakes.
Nothing to do with the damage to the
I mean,
asphalt?
it doesn't help to have enough asphalt that is coming off, but data speak for itself, and I don't know how much I can go into the detail. It's extremely frustrating. I think I've always been very honest, and no matter how many mistakes I do, I will hate to look at myself in the mirror and see myself finding excuses when I do a mistake. So that's why I'm always bluntly honest whenever I'm in front of cameras, but I'm not going to take any of it today. The amount, it's not even braking. I touch the brakes, and there's just something with those brakes that on the front brakes it just broke a lot more than what I thought, and in the rear brakes it had no deceleration at all. It's like I had no rear brakes at all. And yeah, that's what I'm dealing with since 2 races now. We've had some differences of brakes in between cars, but I don't think it's been a disadvantage for me at all. But here and in Montreal with cold tire temperatures, the inconsistency and the tires being a lot more sensitive because you're on the limit of those tires have just been an absolute nightmare, and I'm weighing my words. I mean, I don't have much words. Today I look like an idiot, and when you look like an idiot for a mistake of yours is fine, but it's borderline dangerous.
Well, you certainly don't look like an idiot. I mean, there's obviously a fundamental problem there. So had it not been at that point of the track somewhere else, and you know that is clearly a massive headache going in when we've got 6 races in 8 weeks. This is a problem that you've got to get on top of.
Yeah, but
a circuit like Barcelona, another configuration again.
Yeah, we do have the solution, and yeah, I will go into Lewis's direction from next race onwards, and that will solve the issues I deal with. Maybe Lewis's configuration has other issues, but yeah, I just need consistency at that point, and yeah, that's it.
Bad luck today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Charles Leclerc for a man who has no words, had plenty of words there to dissect, and there's a lot of information to bring you as well. First and foremost, resumption in 11, nearly just over 10 minutes time. Secondly, Lewis Hamilton is now under investigation for a safety car infringement. Was he backing up too much? Is there a penalty going Lewis Hamilton's way? Honestly, more penalties than a World Cup final at the moment, or a Champions League final. Sorry, Arsenal fans. But Charles Leclerc talking there about the difference between himself and Lewis Hamilton on the brakes and the issues that he's been having. So Lewis was definitely backing up a bit whilst warming up his tyres. The key here, Martin, as you say, is was anyone disadvantaged behind Lewis Hamilton and who then had to slow down behind that safety car as a result of Lewis being more than 10 car lengths behind, and he definitely was.
He's about 30 car lengths behind there, isn't he? What that does is then it can disadvantage who's in front of you then if they have to back right up towards the end of the lap to when they become the de facto safety car, the leader. But yeah, they're fundamentals. Your 10 lap, I mean, you can't measure it precisely, of course, sitting in the car, but you get a good feel for it.
Right. Temporary repairs have been completed at turn 19. That is why we've got this race resumption. Let's hear just a little bit more team radio concerning George Russell for the time being as we look into Alex Albon's car. Let's have a little listen to this.
What's going on in the last one? It looks like the track's breaking up.
Yeah, I think it is. The track is starting to break up into the last corner. I mean, that's very
แต่ฉันจะกลับมาเริ่มในอีก8 นาที
of turn 1.
This track's near enough.
So the drivers were aware of what was happening there before the race was suspended.
เริ่มจากพิษกันหมด
Some of them anyway were reporting it back. So yes, under a red flag situation, you can change the tyre, so that's what's helping Arvid Lindblad. You can change parts on the cars as well, as long as you put back on something that is identical in weight and design to whatever damage you're repairing.
Right, just under 8 minutes to go. We wanted a resumption, we're going to get a resumption. It's 12 minutes past 5 here in Monaco. Arvid Lindblad has been able to change his tyres for the first time in this race and get a free stop. Cameraman needs to get out of the way because Lewis is on his way back to the car with his trainer Angela Cullen running on behind him. And we do have that tantalising prospect of Lewis Hamilton on the front row with Kimi Antonelli just ahead of him, and a Ferrari that has been a fast-starting Ferrari during the course of this season, and Kimi Antonelli, who for the first time this season got pole and managed to get away and lead the first lap of a race, and has led every single other lap of this race since, and is on for the Grand Slam, of course, here in Monaco. Pole, fastest lap, and the win, which is not a bad Grand Slam to get. But Hamilton is under investigation for a safety car infringement, and whatever he does at the restart might all be to avail because he could have a penalty coming his way, as could Isaac Hadjar, as could George Russell, as could Pierre Gasly.
น่าจะไหว
At this rate, Martin Brundle, Liam Lawson could be on the podium here for the
ปิดไมค์
first
สักครู่
time in
อันไหนขึ้นไมค์
Formula
อัน
One.
นี้ใช่ไหมฮัลโหลโอเคอันนี้แหละ
Great chance here if it is a standing start. We don't know yet if it's a standing or a rolling or a safety car rolling start, do we? So I would assume in these conditions they will have a standing start, and that then is all bets off with the rush down to the first corner, isn't it, between Hamilton and Antonelli. Let's wait and see what the race director decides. Whether it's a safety car restart or a standing start.
What do the drivers and engineers talk about during this red flag moment? You know, when you've got 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Just detail, everything that matters. There won't be a wasted word.
Talking of no wasted words, down to the pit wall, Bernie Collins.
Yes, Crofty, hopefully no wasted words, but a few things. Pick up on Martin's point. I believe it'll always be a standing start unless conditions make that unsafe. So we're in fully dry conditions, So I would therefore expect a stand and start.
Okay.
What do the engineers and drivers talk about? Exactly that. They know their grid position. They know that they expect it's going to be a stand and start. That's a different grid position, apart from Antonelli, to how they started the race. What's the grip like going to be there? What's their clutch position going to be? They're a much lighter fuel than they normally do a stand and start. So be going through all of these things, the target that they set for the driver's clutch to do that start at the beginning of the race will be very, very different to the target that they set now. So some of that conversation will be happening.
5 นาทีก่อน
We'll be talking about
restart
which soft tyre they're going to put on, what temperatures it will be at, what pressures it will be at, and therefore how that might affect their start and their run to turn 1. Some of the drivers will also look at any of the onboards that they have from the first start and the first run to turn 1. And all of that they'll be trying to compute to get the best launch off that line and into turn 1 in this session. There'll be lots and lots going on and trying to improve the car, what their front wing angle is like they would normally do on a pit stop. How can they get the most out of the 8-9 laps that we have remaining?
I completely agree with you, Bernie, on that, and it's an important point that they're now running on low fuel instead of full tanks of fuel. The only thing I'm wondering is if they think that track is potentially dangerous there, whether that might sway more of a safety car restart, but I'm expecting a standing start.
A rolling start would probably be
4 นาที
would involve that final corner more into what's going on to make that start. Safety car's gone off and they all want to get the best launch possible. That is negated when you've got that standing start, and we do much prefer a standing start to resume a race than we've had before. Now the cars now need to be arranged in order, so push the cars to the front in the correct order has been the instruction. Kimi Antonelli in car number 12 and Lewis Hamilton in car number 44 and Isaac Hadger in car number 6 being the top 3 here.
วีที่เราตาม
So
ก็ลงห
they're
รือยั
going
ง
to push
นะ
the cars to the front in order, starting with Lindblad and then Albon and Sainz. So they'll be allowed out first to go and try to unlock themselves again.
Yeah, that will be the second time they've been able to do
ไม่
that
รู้ว่าตอนที่เลส
during
จ
the
บ
course
จะยัง
of
อยู่
this
หรือ
afternoon.
เปล่า
Just Lindblad's the highest place of the lap runners and then everybody behind him. So that's why they're moving them to one
3
side
นา
to
ที
let those go through.
Yeah, it's not the work of a moment trying to organise the cars down in the pit lane. Even though there's not 22 anymore, we've lost 6 from this race. If you are just joining us, it's quite the eventful Monaco Grand Prix. Max Verstappen with power unit issues after the first lap. Valtteri Bottas, car getting too hot and brake issues. Ollie Behrman, after making contact with his teammate Esteban Ocon, going into the back of him at the hairpin, had to come in for an early pit stop, never recovered from that. Lando Norris, power unit issues for him, and a second time in 2 races that he's retired with power unit issues. And then Lance Stroll and Charles Leclerc crashing at the final corner where the track was breaking up and has had temporary repairs in the last few moments, hence the red flag. And a session that is going to restart very soon.
The FIA have said unlikely to go straight to the standing restart. There'll be some laps behind the safety car. They've said they'll take a very dim view of people leaving more than 10 car lengths.
Because there are 2 drivers under investigation for just that. They happen to be the driver in 3rd place and the driver in 2nd place that looked like, certainly did, leave more than 10 car lengths. Whether anyone was disadvantaged behind might be. It might need a driver and their team representative going to see the stewards after this Grand Prix to argue that case.
Yeah, we might. Well, let's see what they do. We might not have a result until a bit after this race
ครึ่งเวลาให้
finishes, if it ever finishes. It's wow, what an event! What a bizarre afternoon of Formula One in many respects.
It's Monaco, and seriously, often things don't happen, but there are times when anything could happen. Just to add to the spicy restart ingredients here, by the way, Arvid Lindblad's
จะ
just
รีส
left the
ตาร์ท
pit lane
อีก
with
ใน
a brand
30 วิ
new set of soft
ใน
compound
บีนะทุกคน
tyres on. I don't think anyone else has got new softs at this stage. So he's got his teammate Liam Lawson just ahead of him. and Oscar Piastri just ahead of him, and he could be properly chomping at the bit to make some passes there. These are the lapped cars that are now unlapping themselves. That's why they've left the pit lane before the resumption. They'll now line up behind Liam Lawson, who was the last driver on the lead lap when the race was red flagged, and in 5 seconds time starting now, they can all leave the pit lane.
4 3 2 1
They need to give the drivers a bit of a look at what's out there if we restart. I think they're going to do that in terms of behind the safety car. Let them have a look at the track.
So there goes Kimi Antonelli then, who has led this race for every single lap, and it could be the 6th time in the last 8 Monaco Grand Prix that a driver has led from start to finish. It could be the day that Kimi Antonelli wins 5 Grand Prix in a row. It could be the day that he joins a list of drivers that have won 5 in a row, all of whom who have won the championship that particular season. And he is, by the way, the driver who was classified last in last year's Monaco Grand Prix as a rookie. What a day he is having.
Yeah, so you can see Kimi's 10 ahead of, more than 10 ahead of Lewis, who's way more. But if the driver in front of you just blats it and goes,
yeah.
So I think it's if you brake, if you're slowing down, you can't with 1,000 horsepower under your right foot. It's not that difficult to gap the guy by 10 car lengths behind you. That you're talking of 50 meters.
Hajar again is leaving massive gaps.
So George Russell, who has got a drive-through penalty to serve, is noting what Isaac Hajar is doing. Lewis Hamilton did have to accelerate to get to Kimi Antonelli, and that might be a defence for why he was more than 10 car lengths behind before. And Isaac Hajar will say, well, I'm just doing what I'm doing here, and others are going faster around me. Look at that, Colapinto, Gasly, Russell.
I don't have enough power.
Yeah, keep pushing, keep pushing. They're low on power. It's coming back.
Right, no further action.
Lewis
Hamilton for a safety car infringement. So
Các bạn
the
mấy
top two are
Hajar.
gonna be free to race here. So
ตัวนี้นิดนึงครับ
no
จ้าเหลืออีก 8 รอบ
thus far are going to affect the top
สาย
two
ยัง
in this race.
Just waiting here. I'm looking at this computer. I'm just waiting to see if it says standing start. I'm pretty sure it will do, but that's now the most critical thing for the rest of the afternoon as to how are they going to get this race back underway.
And these laps all counting.
Standing start.
Standing start has come up. These laps all counting, obviously, for the final total. You can't do any extra formation laps because you'll run out of fuel potentially. But we've got our wish, Martin. Standing
I think they
start.
have just swept it.
Yeah, it's still broken up.
Okay, copy.
So the repairs were to get rid of the debris and the detritus on the track surface. So you've got to avoid it. You've got to avoid that piece of tarmac that has broken up, a piece of asphalt that has broken up at the final corner. Because there's definitely, the surface has gone, and we've seen 2 cars come a cropper at exactly the same spot. Are you ready for this, Martin? This, whatever is going to happen here, but I don't know how this is going to work out.
Well, we know the Ferrari's mighty off the start. Obviously, Antonelli's got an 8-meter head start, starting again on pole position, effectively. But they have improved the Mercedes starts as well. He was fine earlier on today, but this is a great chance for Lewis Hamilton to steal this away from the young man who took his drive.
We'll do the race start, and then we'll get 2 racing laps. And then we will need to do a drive-through penalty.
And that is the news that tells George Russell his race for the points could be pretty much well and truly ended. Parked up on pole, Kimi Antonelli, alongside him, Lewis Hamilton, third on the grid, Isaac Hajar, and then alongside him, George Russell.
Kimmy's
ถ้าสตาร์ทไม่ดีชิบหายที่ทำมาตลอดทั้งเลสและจะเริ่มหรือยังและไหลแล้ว
Yeah, third of a meter or something. He ought to be stealing there, but anyway.
Every inch.
Look at Lewis ahead of the yellow line. that's just
เอาหน่อยฮะจะเอาหน่อย
down there.
8 รอบครับทุกคน
On any given Sunday. Here we are once again in Monaco.
และกำลังจะเริ่ม ไฟมา และเริ่มได้
It's lights out and away we go. Hamilton reacts quicker. Antonelli is away well though, and there
เฮ้ย
goes
คิมิ
Kimi
กันไว้ได้
to the lead. Lewis Hamilton second. George Russell third. Pierre Gasly's ahead of Isaac Hadjar. Slow start from him. He's lost 2 places. He's now got Oscar Piastri swarming all over him, and towards Massenet we go.
จริงไอ้ช็อตเมื่อกี้แม่งน่ากลัวชิบหายเลยไอ้ตรง
Streaking away.
ไอ้ตรงเทิร์น1
And there comes George Russell holding up the pack to a certain extent as Lewis Hamilton chases after Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah, they're really stacked up behind Russell, who's trying to buy himself a little bit of space. He knows he's got a 20-second loss coming. And look at
จะ
this
มี
side by
ประเด็นเรียบร้อย
Brilliant move from
โดนหรือเปล่าโดนหรือเปล่า
Carlos Sainz and the Williams is out, and his
จะ
100% point scoring
ไม่
record
มีปัญหานะ
comes to an end at the restart. Hulkenberg down the inside was making up
นึกว่าจะได้อีกเหลือง
Sainz was in his way just when he didn't need it. Another retirement here as Antonelli leads by a second and a half.
หรือจะต้องเหลืองจริง
Well, are we going to get that
ยังไง
Williams out of the way? Yes, I think we are. Shouldn't need another safety car.
Bizarrely, the medical car was just coming round that blind corner at Portier as Sainz was heading in the wrong direction.
แล้วฉันจะเขียน
Lap 71 of 78. There's your race leader, Kimi Antonelli. There's Lewis Hamilton right behind him, and for the second time this afternoon, Antonelli absolutely nails the start, and he's onwards now
ช่วง
towards the first Monaco Grand Prix
กี่แล
win.
ปสุดท้ายนะ
Behind him comes
ประ
George
มาณ
Russell. Behind
5 แลป
Russell.
สุดท้ายป่ะ
Gasly
โอ้
up
โห
into
มี
fourth
แต่เรื่อง
place. Is it a podium this afternoon for Gasly? But he's got a penalty coming his way, remember.
We haven't seen what happened to Sainz yet. Has he cleared the racetrack? There is an escape road there for them to put the car into, but he's still showing stuck on the side of the track on the
ยาวแน่เลยว่ะ
tracker. Let's see where Carlos Sainz is.
I think Carlos Sainz might have got tagged by Franco
ตรง
Colapinto.
นี้จะมีชนกันอีกไหม มีอีกหรือเปล่า มีอีกไหม มีอีกไหม
As Hulkenberg was coming through on the inside, what happened
อี
there?
ก6 รอบนะทุกคน
Couple of tenths on Antonelli on this lap. Russell, Gasly, Hadjar, Piastri.
ตอนนี้ท่านเซอร์ห่างไป 1.3 ในบีนะ
Yep, Sainz
Oh,
is
Tanzer.
well out of the way. So here we go then. This should be a run to the finish, and Russell will have to
Ơi,
serve his
ơi,
penalty
ơi,
as
bị
they
sạc
go
kịp
into
mất
the
kia.
chicane.
Well, Alex Albon was alongside Nico Hulkenberg, but how much alongside Nico
เมื่อกี้
Hulkenberg?
อเล็กซ์โดน
He had to go on the escape road. Albon couldn't get the move done. He's
Nah,
still under pressure from
สะกิด
Ocon.
If Albon's front axle was ahead of Hulkenberg's front axle, then Hulkenberg will have to give him that place back.
เอ้า
Will give him the place indeed.
Fernando
อา
Alonso
จารย์ไม่ได้อยู่ที่ 4 แล้วเนี่ย
rear there in P13 as George Russell comes in to serve his penalty. Up into third place goes Gasly, Hadjar, Piastri, Lawson, Lindblad, Hulkenberg, Albon, Ocon, all into the points. And George Russell is now out of the points. And as that happens, Hadjar's been noted for a red flag infringement. So
ก็
that
จากเป็นออฟ
could
ฟี่ปะ
also
ใช่ไหม
give no further investigation for the safety car infringement, but there's another infringement
ณ
from
ตอน
Hadjar.
นี้
They'll sort this out.
อาจารย์มีลุ้นไหมเนี่ย
Tuesday
ไหว
afternoon,
ปะวะ
Tuesday evening, the
จะ
way this is going. But
ความหวัง
out
ห
in
มู่
front,
บ้านละ
1.3 seconds is the gap between Antonelli and
อีก
Hamilton.
5 รอบทุกคน
Antonelli then once again peerless out front.
เอาหน่อย
But
เว้ย
look
ฮั
at
จจา
this, Gasly on
นิด
the
เดียว
podium at the moment. Hadjar right in there. Piastri fifth for McLaren. Lindblad looking at some points. Hulkenberg in the Audi looking good there in
ทัน
eighth
เซอร์
place.
1.5 เลยเหรอ
Two 5-second penalties for Pierre Gasly that are coming his way. Piastri could end up on the podium here. Hadjar's going to be investigated after the race. That is no concern whatsoever to Kimi Antonelli. Let's have a look at what happened at the hairpin. And watch it down the inside. Hulkenberg spies a
แล้วก็
gap.
สะกิดพวกเข้าไป
Yeah, and then Sainz is then right in his way.
เกือบได้อีกเหลือง
Yeah, Sainz was going around the outside and sort of cut back in a little bit. A very unfortunate contact for the pair of them there.
I think the Colapinto contact on Sainz happens later on down at Portier. Here's down the inside here. That's original contact for Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, so Hulkenberg was avoiding an accident initially. Here we go again.
Now watch
เอ
Colapinto.
้ยแล้วก็
And there's
คอล
two
ปินโต
taps.
ก็ไปชน
That's
ซ้ำ
why
อีกทีห
Carlos
นึง
Sainz was facing the other way.
สวยจัด
Rotten luck for Carlos Sainz. Antonelli's 2 seconds out in front. He can almost taste that victory champagne. Hamilton on course for a second successive podium finish for Ferrari. A second successive second place. Behind that,
ไม่น่าหลุดโผจากนี้แล้วแม่งห่างกันเยอะเหลือเกิน
Piastri is in the best place at the moment to take a podium here. He's chasing Isaac Hadjar, who's going to have to go and chase to see the stewards after the race.
But Gasly then is already is about to show already 3.1 seconds ahead of Hadjar. He's
ที่
got
นี่
to
ยัง
get
การเซต
that
เหลือ
up
อีก
to
แล้ว
5 seconds somehow.
อันนี้ก็มาซ้อมหรืออะไรเนี่ย
That's going to be a tall order. That really is. Here with not
จ๋าว่าไง
not many laps to go.
Still no power. Come on.
จ๋ายังคงไม่มีพลังอยู่
And Hadjar is
ขอ
really,
พลัง
really struggling as he has been for long periods in
อีกกี่
this
วิเนี่ย
race.
โพเดียม
With
3 วิ
loss of power from his Red Bull.
3 วิ
If he
3
can
รอบ
hang on
ไหว
on
ไหม
the
ครับจ๋า
at least to fourth place, it's a brilliant effort from himself this afternoon. But whether he can hang on to that in the stewards room, I don't know.
Bernie reminding me amongst this wave of penalties, it's 10 seconds for Pierre Gasly that he's carrying, not
อ๋อ
5
แต่แกสลี่มี
Piastri
เพนัล
there
ตี้ติดตัวอยู่นี่ห
might
ว่า
be just content to sit behind Isaac Hadjar here, but there's no guarantee that
ได้ดิ
there's no guarantee that Hadjar is going to get any penalties from the stewards. Pierre
จ๋าก็มีเพนัลตี้อยู่เหมือนกัน
is on course to finish third on the road here, but 2 speeding offences in the pit lane is going to take him out of the top 3. And while all that is happening, last lap, Antonelli 7/10 clear of Lewis Hamilton. The Ferrari has no
เหลืออีก 2 รอบ
answer to the pace of the Mercedes and the pace of Kimi
ออสการ์จี้
Antonelli.
ตุดฮัจจามาแล้ว
With his teammate George Russell out of the points, Antonelli's on course for 25.
แซงไหวไหมสนามโมนาโค
today.
ออสการ์
Sergio Perez
แต่แซงเลย
for an out of position.
ให้ฮัจจาได้โพเดียมเหอะ
Stewards working overtime and investigating that right now as we drop down deep towards the hairpin. Isaac Hadjar ahead of Oscar Piastri. The front 2 are a long way clear of the rest. It has to be said, they've definitely got the pace at the moment. Lapping in the 1:14s, Gasly in third, lapping in the 1:16s. And no wonder that the top Antonelli's just making his way around Raskas. Gasly down towards Tabak.
Yeah, Lawson telling me before the start of the race my car's not going to make it. I'm not in the race, and here he is, P6, somewhat later that day.
Best place finish of 5th in Baku in 2025 for Liam Lawson. Finished 7th last time out in Canada. P6 possibly here today. Could be even more. Who knows by the time that he
คิมมี่ยังเอาอีกเหรอ
gets work.
คัสเทเลบกี่รอบแล้วเนี่ยวันเนี้ย
Antonelli at 1:13.4.
สบาย
Unbelievable.
เลยวิ่งอยู่คนเดียว
Slow down, slow down.
The Prince of Monaco is going to award a trophy to the
นี่เพิ่ง
young
รีสตาร์ท
Prince
รี
of
สตาร์ทไปได้
Monaco this year, and it is going to be
7
Kimi
รอบ
Antonelli, a long
นำทันเซอร์ไป 5 วิโอ้โห
as through it's into Casino Square we go with
ทับสนามเล่นคนเดียวไหม
and Oscar Piastri behind him. And I just hope for the last lap we get to see Kimi Antonelli complete lap 78 and take the checkered
และ
flag.
คิมมี่เข้ารอบสุดท้ายแล้วหรือเปล่า
There's one young man getting ready to
Last
celebrate
lap
here,
แล้วหรือ
and
เปล่า
he's
คิมมี่
one way clear of his opponent Lewis Hamilton in second place.
Yeah, they're still pushing like crazy, unsurprisingly. But yeah, Antonelli and Hamilton, they've gapped the pack already by 14 seconds. Antonelli kept his head. That's what's impressed me as much as anything today with Antonelli.
ออสการ์ยังคงหาจังหวะ
He's kept his head. Safety car restarts, 2 actual starts.
แต่น่าจะไม่ทันแล้วไหมรอบสุดท้ายแล้ว
Our race leader is heading up around Massenet and into Casino Square for one last time. Lewis Hamilton chasing after him. Awful lot of attention on Kim this weekend. The headlines are going to be written by Kimi this
Final lap.
weekend on the track with a brilliant performance to grab pole yesterday when Charles Leclerc was on for pole. He hit the wall at Tabak. Kimi Antonelli denied Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen's power unit denied us a battle between the two during the course of this race, and nothing has been able to deny Kimi Antonelli. Not safety cars, we've had 2. Not a red flag, we've had 1. A victory here in Monaco. He has been absolutely on it from Saturday morning onwards. He has shown the way, and he has been the fastest man on the track. He's built his way up slowly but surely, but there's been nothing slow about him. When the lights went out today, Kimi Antonelli got his foot to the floor. He survived the restart.
และคิมิ
He comes home.
เรียบร้อยคิมิได้แชมป์เป็นเท่าไหร่แล้ววะเนี่ย5ป่ะ5 สนามติดต่อกันแล้วเป็นโอ้โดนทำลายอย่าง
Pierre Gasly on the road now crosses the line to take third place in the race with penalties to serve. Isaac Hadjar moves ahead of him to take that third place with a steward's investigation to come for him. Oscar Piastri is definitely fourth. Liam Lawson is an equal best place finish in Formula One for him. Fifth from Arvid Lindblad, who changed his tyres during that red flag for a best finish of sixth.
เก่งมากคิมิ
Nice work there, pal. That was a masterclass, mate.
ปีนี้ก็
First Monaco win.
แชมป์ไปเหรอน้อง
Oh my god.
Yeah, a bit tense at the end there, mate. Bit tense at the end, but yeah, what a great job.
แต่มีทั้งเหลืองมีทั้งแดง
Car was a beast
ที
today.
นี้ก็ยังกันได้
My goodness, thank you so much.
No, great job there,
โดย
mate.
เฉพาะแดง
Great job.
ที่ต้องสตาร์ทที่กริดใหม่
So Gasly drops down to P7. We're
ยัง
waiting
ไม่
to
มี
find
อะไร
out
ผิดพลาด
what
เลย
the red flag
เยี่ยม
incident for Isaac
เยี่ยมมาก
Hadjar.
เยี่ยมมาก
If there's going to be any ramifications for that, and wow, there's a lot to talk about, isn't there, after this race?
วันนี้
There absolutely
จบ
is.
แล้ว
Down, Lewis. Great job, guys. Sorry I can't pull the win.
สุดยอด
Sorry I couldn't get the win in the end. They just had the upper hand on us this weekend. But mega result. Really grateful for all the hard work and let's continue to push.
ที่
Thank you.
3 ก็
Grazie a
น่าจะ
tutti.
เป็น
That's a tell you
จ่าปะ
for today we can be happy.
แกสลี่มันโดน
Let's continue the stories here. Gasly finishes 7th, Albon 8th, Ocon in the points 9th.
ใช่ใช่ใช่
Congratulations, Cadillac,
มาดูเอ
who have scored
F1
their
ทัมมิ่ง
first points
ใช่
in
ใช่อาจารย์
Formula
ที่สาม
One.
อาจารย์โพเดียมเว้ย
10-second penalty
ตัวแทนหมู่บ้าน
Hulkenberg for
เก่งมากน้อง
causing a collision has promoted Sergio Perez up into 10th place.
Bravo, bravo,
still at-
job mate. Good job. It's P3. Nice work.
Oh my god. Why does it have to be so difficult?
Yeah.
เก่งมากน้องเก่งมาก
mate.
เก่ง
We
มาก
threw everything at you. Good job.
โอเคโอเคโอเคโอเคโอเค
Perez is still under
สำหรับวันนี้นะทุกคนผมคงต้องจากลากันแต่เพียงเท่านี้
No, I want the romance.
ก็ไว้เจอกัน
Forget that. I want the romance.
คลิป
We need a
สรุป
PA up
เรส
there
นี้
to
แล้วกัน
keep a note of all the
อาจจะใช้
penalties
เว
because
ลา
it's
ท
become
ำนานนิดนึงนะทุกคน
ridiculous, isn't it, as they churn
มี
off
เรื่องเยอะเลยว่ะ
up there to try to remember
อาจจะได้ลงคลิปประมาณวันอังคารไม่ก็พุธเลย
speed gun or the speed sensor
เหมือนกาดก็ต้องรอต่อไปนะ
is doing something
เหมือน
different
กาดนี่อาจจะใช้เวลาอีกอาทิตย์นึง
different to the rest of the weekend.
โอเคประมาณนี้ครับ สวัสดีครับ แล้วเจอกันคลิปหน้า ไลฟ์หน้า
Bravo if that is the case.
บ๊าย
Well
บาย
done. Or if Perez does get a penalty, bravo Fernando Alonso for